And 2-0 now on the road trip, 15-5 on the regular season. The bench scored 43 points last night. They scored 70 against the Clippers the other night. All right, think about this. Your bench scoring 43 points. And I know Olynyk and the Dragon off the bench are enormous. Those guys have really helped out this team. They give them a punch that you just normally don't get. And yesterday there was no Dragon on the court. So it was one of those where, pretty impressive yesterday to go on the road, win a game like this, right? And find a way to overcome on the road and in a difficult environment too, because Toronto is a place where you've got crazed maniacs as fans. I mean, that they are, you got a country behind that team. Not that the country's inside that arena, but that place is absolutely loaded, and you go out there and perform, and look, you get 16 points from Olynyk, 17 points from Winslow. Derek Jones Jr. gave you 5. Tyler Hero gave you 6. Notice, by the way, if I want to get into a little bit of, if we want to be brutally honest about what's going on with the team, the young guys struggling a little bit here. Remember I told you about Kendrick Nunn, how he hasn't been as efficient lately. Well, I don't know if you've noticed this. Last night, Kendrick Nunn was 3 of 16, 0 of 9 from three-point range. Against Brooklyn, he was 5 of 15, 1 of 7 from three-point range. Against Golden State, he was 6 of 16, 1 of 4 from three-point range. And against Houston, he was 3 of 11. Now, those 3 were in three-point area, so he was 3 of 8, which is not the worst. It's actually half decent. But overall, poor percentage of 3 of 11. In the last 4 games, Kendrick Nunn is 17 of 58, shooting 34% from the field. He's 5 of 28 from three-point range. That's 17% from the field. Not shooting well right now. I kind of told you this, I think it was yesterday, the day before, that the efficiency rating is going down with Kendrick Nunn, and I was interested to see what happened last night in the game against Toronto, and once again, he was not efficient. Even down the stretch where you needed a couple key baskets, he could not hit it. Couldn't hit it. He couldn't hit a follow-up. I mean, it was just one of those deals. Right towards the end, like with the last minute, he was kind of conscious of it, and he was facilitating more than anything else because he realized, like, I'm stinking it out. I am laying bricks left and right. And here's the thing. We have no track record of him. So we don't really know what the real Kendrick Nunn is at this level. We don't know if it's the guy that started the season or the guy that now is in a 4-game funk. We don't know. We're going to find out. Soon enough, we'll find out.
Oh, let me ask you a question. Don't they say shooters have to shoot?
Yes.
Right? I like the fact that they kept giving him the ball and getting the kid to shoot. I mean, you don't want to shut him down, right?
No.
Shooters got to shoot themselves out.
Yeah. No, I get that, but the fact remains is he's in a funk. Okay?
That's why you sat him on your fantasy team.
No, I will sit. I had to play him this week because I lost Ja Morant. So next week I will bench him. Why? We'll talk to Andy Behrens at 1 o'clock about that. But I got to say, props to me. 2 days ago, I picked up a kid by the name of Lonnie Walker IV. You guys remember him for the University of Miami? So I noticed his numbers and his minutes started to trend up in the last 2 games. And I go, whoa. You're stinking out the place. You've won like 5 or 6 games in the season. DeRozan and Aldridge are being rumored about possibly being traded. So if you're going to trade DeRozan, then second-year player Lonnie Walker could be the guy getting the elevation. So last night, there was a situation with the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs. The controversy of Harden's dunk that did go through, right, went through the net, and then the net kind of carried it and made it go back up over the rim, and then it bounced out, thinking that the refs thought it went through and back out again, which would not be a basket by rules. But it did not do that. It literally went in and out and around, but they didn't see it. And then they took too long to try to challenge it, and because the allotted time ran out, they could not challenge it, which all of this was asinine. And the whole mess now is that they either award the game to Houston because they outscored them in regulation, or count the dunk and play the game from the 7-minute mark on again. And for Fantasy Geek, think about the fantasy implications on all of that everywhere, okay? Because think about it. Harden was stinking out the place that night. He scored 50 last night, but he played he shot, what was it last night? It was 11 of 38, 4 of 20 from three-point range.
I sit here as one of the implication guys because I own Mr. Harden.
Right. So in all of that, what was lost was Lonnie Walker had 28 points. Okay? He played 30-something minutes. He had 19 points in the fourth quarter. So I'm there. I'm like, yeah, I just picked him up because he's going to now become a hot wire pickup now for more people, right? And maybe for some of you that are listening to the show. But I already got him a couple days ago, so I was a little ahead of the curve before the 28-point blow-up yesterday. So Lonnie Walker, long answer, will be unseating Kendrick Nunn next week on my fantasy team. So I will have a new guard in place next week in Lonnie Walker. So there you go. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's just the way it is. So long story, I did want to talk about all of this. Harden, by the way, did talk about the dunk and the missed dunk, and they asked him how they explained it. All right.
Can you give him any kind of explanation on why the dunk did not count? What were you arguing, and how were you trying to convince them?
Ball went in.
That's it. Ball went in. That's it. And, I mean, you can't say any more than that. You get to a point where after that you start getting fined because the next things are you're pissed at everything. Now, you could have won the game still after that point. You know what I'm saying? Because there was 7 minutes left in the game, and there are still 2 overtimes after that. There were plenty of opportunities for them to win that game. But it's interesting that you could screw up a call that badly when it's so obvious that the hoop went through, and how all the referees on the court, none of them saw the ball go through and back out again and back over the top. What'd they do? It's a dunk. You would imagine that your focus is on what's going on around the rim. So you would be looking at it. For every person that is an official on the court to actually say, I missed that shot, I missed that play, that's nuts, man.
To score a basket, it has to go all the way through the net.
Yes.
Somebody should have seen that it went all the way through the net.
Yeah.
You've watched a lot of ball. We go back, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen one we've seen the dunk and it hits the guy's head and it doesn't go through the net, but this one, to go and the way it went around and back up over.
Yeah. It's crazy. I've never seen it.
Right?
No, I've never seen it.
This is a new one.
Never seen it, but you got a job, man. You're a referee. You're supposed to be paying attention to everything that's going on the court. And there's multiple referees out there. How can everybody miss that? I mean, that's just unacceptable.
And to compound it, we have replay. The fact
but then you limit yourself because a certain amount of time ran. I think it was 30 seconds or a minute that went by. You have to challenge within the 30 seconds or a minute of the play, and if you don't, then you cannot challenge after that. And so the fact that they couldn't challenge, it's just asinine, man. And how about Vegas? How about the people that were betting on that game? I don't know what the line was and how it affected it. and all of that, but it could affect the outcome because maybe it's different if Houston wins.
If we know Vegas like we know Vegas, I'm sure it was around that number. The game finished with a 2-point win. I'm willing to bet that the line was no more than 4 points because you know how good they are.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, 135 to 133 was the game yesterday, but that was pretty cool. I watched that game on NBA TV. They were showing the last, whatever, I don't know how long it was that I was watching, but I was watching for a while. And watching Lonnie Walker, that was really, really cool. He ended up with 35 minutes on the night, 10 of 18 shooting, 4 of 7 from three-point range, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, a block, and 2 turnovers. He was plus 29 when he was on the court. Plus 29. And the announcers, any of you that stayed up to watch that game, the announcers were like towards the end were like the ball needs to get more to Walker, not Rosen. They need Walker to touch the ball more. It was like you could hear the turning of the page. You can hear the passing of the torch, all of that, because they wanted to get, because the reason why they were explosive was because of Walker. And that was really cool. As a UM fan, for me, that's what I was enjoying the game for. I don't really care about the Rockets or the San Antonio Spurs. I didn't give a rat's ass about either team. It was entertaining. It was fun to watch. It was also kind of laughable because I'm looking at Westbrook and I'm looking at Harden. I'm going, this will never work, dude. This is just never going to work. I wrote it down. Yeah, I did a little homework like we always do on this show. 49 minutes for Harden, 11 of 38, 4 of 20. He did go 24 of 24 from free throw line. Some guy screamed out from the crowd, we don't want to see a free throw shooting contest. And he goes, I don't want to get fouled. So, yeah, it was beautiful. Westbrook played 48 minutes, shot 7 of 30. Think about it. Both guys shot 18 of 68. Okay? Let me go that over. 18 of 68. Can I do the math for you? That's 50 shots missed combined between Westbrook and Harden. I get it. On the nights that they're on, you're going to have a great offensive output, and we've watched it firsthand. But you can beat them like that, too. If you can score, you can beat them because you'll get stops and they won't. And that's the other thing that just rears its ugly head. They don't play defense, man. Anyway, he shot 7 of 30, 1 of 6 from three-point range, 19 points. He had 10 assists to go with 5 turnovers. It's just... he's an inefficient player. And at Oklahoma City, it worked for him because he played with a team that needed him to take 50,000 shots. It reminds me a lot of AI. As gutsy and as tough as AI is, and as much as I can admire a small man going through trees all the time back in the day, the dude wasn't efficient. He wasn't a great shooter. He was a volume shooter. It's the only way he could come up with points because you shot a lot. That's not necessarily productive. That's one of the things that when LeBron got here, the Heat, taught them how to become more efficient as players. And it wasn't about your volume shots. It was about getting effective shots and making those shots and not risking the turnovers, not risking the fast breaks, not risking the long rebounds, all those things that put your defense at risk when you're shooting a lot and missing a lot. And which is what happens with Houston. You shoot a lot and you shoot a lot of bombs and you get a lot of long rebounds, you're going to get a lot of fast break points. And when you're not a good transition defense, that's not a good combination, ladies and gentlemen. That to me, that combination, I think most of us, I'm not breaking any news here. I'm not enlightening 99% of you out there. I think most of us felt like Harden Westbrook? Huh? No, that's not going to work.
Is it safe to assume they probably give up the most fast break points because of the amount of misses and lack of D?
Yeah. I'm sure they're one of them.
Right.
I'd have to look it up and see exactly
But
how it
it's
goes.
a safe assumption here.
Hells to the for sure. No doubt about it.
Whole bunch of Carmelo Anthony type guys playing defense.
Yes. Brandon says, I used Lonnie in DraftKings last night. I looked like a genius. Nice job by you. Nico says, good morning, and Billy. How about them Heat? Love them. They play hard all game. Love Spoelstra's comments after the game that there was a lot of ice being used by the players in that locker room. Pop has to play him. We aren't shocked he did as UM fans. Ha ha. There you go. And not only that, Pop is going to have to rebuild. And now you're going to have to trade DeRozan. Problem is, who's going to give you a first-rounder for him? That's the question. Because that's what they want, because that's what they had to give up to get him in this whole thing. And think about this. Think about that phone call, right, from Popovich. Yeah, I'm trading DeRozan. Oh, what? What'd you say, Pops? Yeah, DeMarcus, DeRozan. I got to trade. What? Huh? I got to trade DeRozan. You want him? You know, it's because think about it. You just traded the best player on the planet for him. They went on to win a title with him. Now you're stuck with a team that is 8-14. Okay? You're looking around going, this league changed. I had guys that were shooting threes. I acquired a guy that can't shoot a three. What the hell am I doing? I got a soft-ass forward in LaMarcus Aldridge. And it just, Pops has got to be, like, beside himself. Like, what the hell am I doing?
So and San Antonio-like. This is not them, man. You know that.
I think it was one. Well, when they made the Aldridge thing, he was going to be complimenting the other guys they had in a way. But now that you put him like he was in Portland as the top guy, he just doesn't roll that way in my eyes. He's not that guy.
He needs to be the two
or
the
three. Yeah, he's a 2 or 3 guy. And DeRozan's not a 1 either, because that was the problem in Toronto. Lowry and DeRozan aren't 1s. They cannot be 1s. Okay? They're just not.
That's why they kept hitting that wall in the playoffs.
Right.
You can see it.
And Toronto now, it's Siakam is their guy. That's the man. And OG's the other guy that's going to become the OG there, not Lowry. Lowry's the heart and soul and, you know, the effort guy and all that, but he's not the special talent that you can build around. Siakam and OG have that ability that maybe they can become those kind of guys. And DeRozan was never that guy. LaMarcus Aldridge has never been that guy. Whereas Parker could be that guy. Ginobili could be that guy. And obviously, Duncan was always that guy. But when Duncan's not on the court, those other 2 guys, when they were at their peak, they were stars. Stars that DeRozan and Lowry never were, never be, never will be, can't be in their dreams. You know what I mean? So, and for me, LaMarcus falls in that category too, that he's not that guy either. So now Lonnie Walker, you watch him, and he has that athleticism, dude. And then he can stretch the defense because he can sit back and nail the 3 or drive past your ass and take you to the hole. And because he's long, he's also got an advantage there too because he's a big guy. He's a big guard. I mean, how tall is Lonnie Walker? I want to say he's like 6'7", 6'8", or something. I forgot what it is. I'm pulling it up now. But, yeah, you could tell that it's just a different player. He's just young and green still, Lonnie. But here it is, 6'5".
6'5", yeah.
6'5".
But he plays like
no, he's tall. He's big. He's big. And so you're talking about a kid that he just brings a lot more to the table than what Lowry is going to bring. Lowry's an all-heart guy, and you love him. I mean, he's a good player. There's no doubt about it. But, yeah, that was the part that I was enjoying last night, was watching Lonnie Walker do his thing. I thought that was really, really, really cool. We got a loaded show for you today. Gary Washburn is going to join us at noon. Boston Globe writer, a little NBA, and we'll talk Celtics because he's there in Boston. Covers the Celtics, covers the NBA. So we'll get a little preview of the Celtics, and we'll talk a little Heat matchup with him. Andy Behrens, a lot of basketball today because we got our fantasy basketball segment at 1 o'clock with Andy Behrens. At 2 o'clock, we've got our Inter-Miami segment with Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. So we'll talk a little football there. So first 3 days we cover MMA, we cover soccer, we cover baseball, right? I'm sure nobody else gave the
Not
Marlins.
only baseball, you talked Marlins, brother.
You got to give people credit when they deserve it, bro.
True.
Got to be fair, okay?
Right.
You know, you can demand
Be
from
objective.
people. You can do whatever. You got to rip them, fine. But if they do something well, then you got to give them credit, bro. You got to be fair is fair, man. That's just not the way. I've never rolled that way. Okay, and I don't plan on doing that.
There's no vindictive, intentional,
No.
you just call it like it is.
No, dude.
Bottom line, call it like it is.
I want the Marlins to be champions, bro.
It would be nice.
They've taken all the life out of me to love baseball now. I can't enjoy baseball because I don't have a baseball team.
We don't want to win the division, though. The secret is to win the wild card. Be the wild card.
Yeah, well, that's
means
been our
we
luck.
We win the World Series.
Yeah, 97, 2003. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right. Can't argue with that one.
You know, I got to say before we move on, that game last night had every bit of
Heat.
a playoff
yeah.
feel.
Well,
And, I mean, this is early December, and it was every bit.
Well, because you got to remember Nick Nurse, I'm sure while he was preparing his team now, remember we talked about this a couple weeks ago, there are no more surprises anymore. The Heat are done. They can't go under the radar anymore. They're not the lovable 31-10, cast-offs that got this incredible run. And during that run, people were looking at that roster, and they were still laughing at the roster, going, yeah, I get it. They have this great record, but we'll take care of them that night. And then they were really depressed at the end of the night because they're like, holy crap, we lost to these guys. How do we do that? That's not this team. This team is legit. Okay? I'm not saying legit champion. This team is legit in the Eastern Conference. This is the kind of team now that will beat your ass if you do not come to play. I don't care who you are. If you're the Clippers, you got to bring it. How funny is that, right? If you're the Clippers, you got to bring it. Would you say that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Do you know how stupid you would look to say that? But anyway, now that things have changed, the landscape of the world has changed, that the Clippers are actually a really good franchise, even the Clippers have to play hard against the Miami Heat. If not, they'll lose too because they can shoot. They got a star that's leading them in Jimmy Butler. They got young players that are gritty. They got one of the best benches in the NBA. Seriously. It just night in and night out, they prove it. They score a boatload of points, man. Last night, you also beat Toronto without the Dragon. Without your best player off the bench. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome to be able to do that. I mean, last night you're like, okay, we're going in that game, and you don't have the Dragon. There is no way you were like, yeah, no problem. You were like, oh, crap, come on, man. We need the Dragon, bro. The hell is this? How are you going to give me no Dragon on a night like tonight? We're playing one of the top teams in the East. I need the Dragon in there. That was pretty awesome. No Haslam. They didn't even play him. No James Johnson. They didn't play him. No Dion Waiters. They didn't play him. Now, let me get into a little sum here. Kendrick Nunn could be opening the door for Dion Waiters.
Don't. Did you just say what you said, man?
I'm just saying.
Oh.
Just saying. Just telling you. I read you the numbers. 3 of 16 last night. 5 of 15. 6 of 16. 3 of 11, 17 of 58, 34% the last 4 games, 5 of 28, 17% from three-point range. That cannot continue. And I'm not telling you that you replace him now. All I'm saying is, Kendrick, you got your opportunity, my man. This is your chance of a lifetime. You went to the G League last year because Golden State didn't think you were that good. And if you listen to Kerr's comments, he didn't sound like a guy that was heartbroken, even though he saw Kendrick playing well. He didn't sound like a guy that was heartbroken for losing Kendrick. He sounded like a guy that thought Kendrick got on a lucky run, that it's really not him. That's what it sounded like to me. Go back and listen to those comments. I'm really happy for him. I'm really happy that he's getting this opportunity. We had this and this and this. It wasn't one of those. Normally a coach would have said, that's one that got away from us, man. Really would, especially in a season like this, that we have all these injuries. We really could have used Kendrick Nunn. It was one of those. Kudos to Miami for picking him up at the last day of the regular season. That was smart because we really liked him, and obviously look what he's doing there. He didn't sound like that.
On a player on his way out, you try to be accommodating in this and talk.
He wasn't insulting.
But he wasn't dying the fact that this kid got away.
He didn't miss you at all. He didn't miss you at all.
So
this
that's
is your
funny you're saying that.
This is your opportunity right now, Kendrick. You're on a funk now. It's only 4 games in an 82-game schedule. Any shooter can get in any – James Harden, you name it, everybody gets into funks. But when you're established – you have some leeway, you have some slack, you can buy some time. When you're not established and you really you don't have an identity, because maybe this is Kendrick Nunn at the NBA level. Maybe he is the guy that shoots 34% from the field and 17% from three-point range. Maybe. I don't know. I think it's more the latter. I think it's more, not the latter, I think it's more the guy that started the season, but he's got to prove it to us. And he's got to prove it to the coach. Now, the dynamics behind all of this, Dion Waiters said, anybody could coach the big three. So he took shots and insults at Spoelstra. So I don't know if Spoelstra is going to be as forgiving and put him out on the court. But I will say this. What do? Do you get to the point that you say, well, Kendrick, you're not doing too well. You're not efficient. Do we start the dragon, bring you off the bench? And then you start sharing your bench time with Dion. And then Dion eventually takes your bench and then becomes the guy off the bench because that's what they really wanted. And then you end up now going from starter to the third guy now because Goran took your starting job and Dion is the backup now and the number one guy off the bench because he leapfrogged you. So I'm just throwing it out there because, again, I kind of do this thing where I foresee and look at it ahead of time before it happens, just to say, okay, we're at a fork in the road now. Does the kid get back to on track? Or does he continue down this path? And if he does, this is what we talked about now. And in a week or two, it's going to become a thing. People will talk about it. Kendrick is struggling. Kendrick this. Kendrick that. Should they play Dion more? All of that. It's going to come. Dion's healthy. I saw Dion, what's it called? Being buddy-buddy with Jimmy Butler. Coming off the floor on a timeout. A couple times I saw where Dion approached them and they were talking and going back and forth and smiling, saying this and that. And remember, he's the star of the team. So you're going to gravitate to the star because that's going to help you in, talking. And then, hey, come on, coach. Yeah, I know he was an idiot. I know he's a moron, but we need him, coach. We need him. He's balling right now. You see him in practice. He's balling. And, I like Kendrick, but he's a young guy. He's struggling right now. You know how it is in this league. You win with veterans. You don't win with young guys. You just never know, and so you make friends with Jimmy, you get close to Jimmy, and that's the guy that's going to politic for you.
Working it from the inside. He's such a cancer, man.
I'm saying, I get it, but I'm just throwing it out there because I'm seeing what's going on, what's developing right now. It needs to get nipped in the bud right away.
Bottom line, Nunn needs to start making some shots.
Yeah,
it's just that simple.
That's it. That's all. Got to start doing it, man. Hey, man. When I started talking about Bobrovsky struggling, people were like, "Huh? What? Huh?" Now everybody's on the bandwagon with it. You know what I mean? It's just I've done this for years. It's just the way I view sports, and I look at it and actually, pay attention to all the damn games and the players and what's going on. And all I'm saying, he's a young guy. This is normal too. Okay, let's not make it sound like it's abnormal. He's a rook in this league. We can't expect him to take the league by storm and dominate every single night. It's magical. It sounds great. And I would love for it to continue. He's on my fantasy basketball team. I would love for it to continue, man. But I got to call it like I see it. And right now, kid's got to pick it up. The amazing part is it doesn't affect this Heat team. I mean, he stunk it out.
What? Yeah.
Tyler stunk it out, and no Dragon, and you beat Toronto.
Yeah.
On the road.
Kelly stepped up.
Oh, Kelly's been big.
Robinson, dude. Another one.
You know what it is?
And you know what? Butler wasn't like the way he took over the overtime. He didn't play like that all night.
Right.
He deferred. He let everybody get in. You know what I mean?
You heard him
when
after.
He had to step,
you heard him after with Jax.
Step, bro. Yes.
Yeah, they brought me here. If I got to score, or if I got to assist, I got to defend. That's why they brought me here. And he's got the right attitude about that. And that was one thing that I was concerned about. Like, what kind of star does he want to be? Does he want to be the foundational star, or does he want to be the poster star that is
me?
Westbrook. You know what I mean? Westbrook is that poster star that is really not making everybody better. It's just he's a stat hog. It's like the people who fall in love with Whiteside's numbers, and it's like you're not really watching the game. He's not really making them better, bro. Don't you see that they're losing games all over because he's not sacrificing and doing the things he's supposed to do in order to get them over the top? And he's not making the winning plays. He's making the selfish plays.
Stat line's more important than a W. And
right.
Those guys, we know who they are.
And Butler,
Dwight Howard,
right?
Carmelo, we know them.
Although, kudos to Dwight.
Kudos
to Dwight.
You know what?
He learned his lesson.
Yes.
He has become the ultimate role player.
New leaf. Amazing.
Well, he knew that this was like the end of the road. And then he also knows, okay, I'm going to go into the hall without a ring. So here, now I get my ring, and that's because he's going to the hall. I mean, not first ballot because he's an a-hole, but he will be in the Hall of Fame, guaranteed.
Hey, 20
10
stats. every night. 20,
stats.
10 every night at minimum.
Points, rebounds, and blocks are monstrous numbers, and he has them all. He's in the Hall. I don't want him on my team ever, okay? But kudos to him that in the twilight of his career, he realized, I've been an a-hole my entire time and selfish and all that. Let me go be a team player and let me go get this thing done and pick it up. But going back to my point on Kendrick Nunn, I love the kid. He's fun to watch. He's fearless. And the good thing is he doesn't have a conscience. So these 4 games aren't going to actually affect him the way he plays the game because he continues to miss. And I've seen players that become tentative, and I've seen players that become afraid of taking shots and all that kind of stuff. This is not one of those dudes. So you could tell. But the thing about dudes like this is that they will keep burying you if they don't fix it. You know what I mean? Now, because they're fearless and they'll shoot themselves out of it, if he shoots himself out of it, then all is good. That's it. But just keep a look at what's going on with Kendrick now over the next couple of games. See what happens tonight in Boston. Back-to-back set. Had a bad night again last night. You've gone 4 straight games of stinking it out personally. Now, what are you doing tonight? Let's see what you're doing. Let's see if you're back on track, or do you continue digging yourself in that hole? Because I'm sure it's something that Spoelstra is looking at right now. You have to. It's a 4-game sample size. You have to. You've played 20 games, and it's 1/5 of your games.
Yeah.
So 1/5 of your games, you're stinking it out. So now let's see what you're doing.
You mentioning this and talking about it the way you did, like thinking about it and opening up, if the kid, because lack of track record, this is his first regular time NBA, right? We're not talking G League, we're talking the NBA.
Yeah.
And he had his little run, but the wall, and the thing is, if the kid was
you don't want to go Jeremy Lin?
If the kid was like he was the first 12, 14 games, everybody else in the NBA would have saw this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the fact that we do discover we're great at it,
UD.
But facts are facts, and like you said, lack of track record, and
Well, we're going to find out now. We're going to find out now. That's why you gave him the playing time.
I hope the kid rips it, because the thought of Dion Waiters coming into our locker room and screwing up.
Well, he's already in the locker room.
But
he's already in the locker room. He's already on the sides. Sidelines there.
You don't let cancer get close to you.
I know, but they have no choice. They're stuck with him for 2 years. And I'm sure that conversation was had, by the way, between Dion and the team and Riley and him, and it's like, yo, we're stuck with each other. Now, you want to be a D? Go ahead, bro. You won't play, we'll suspend you. Fine. You'll never get traded. You'll never do anything. It'll be 2 more years of dead years on your career that you're not doing anything as you get older. Remember what I told you about Kaepernick? Hey, notice how I got all swept under the rug? Remember I told you? Anyway, now, same thing here. You want to play that game? Go ahead. Dion, you meet us halfway. You be a professional. You play hard. You do what you're told. You get on the court. You get to actually play. You get to justify yourself out there. You get to prove to yourself, to us, to the NBA that you can play and that you're a viable option and a tradable option. Then we can find a trade partner. But if you want to play this game, we'll pay you. We don't care. Mickey Harrison has more money than God. He doesn't care. He'll write the check. But you won't get anywhere for 2 years. And you'll be sitting on a bench doing nothing and going nowhere, and you got older. It's up to you now, dude. So maybe, just maybe, they reconciled. The husband and wife cheated on each other. They were pissed off at each other, yada, yada, yada. They sat down, they reconciled, they forgave each other, they moved on, and they're happily ever after from here on out. It's happened in marriages, right? Who's to say that in this marriage, after all the infidelity that's gone on, everything that's gone on, that they didn't sit down, they had to come to Jesus and say, hey, we can't get rid of you if you're an a-hole. It's up to you now. So let's go. Halfway. I'm sure that conversation happened.
You're talking about a major epiphany by Mr. Waiters, which...
It's up to him now. Playing time is a drug unlike no other. And the check is really nice. But when you're getting that check and you have some pride in your game, it hurts.
So that $10 million feels empty?
There's an emptiness in it. It's not empty, but there's an emptiness in it. You'll cash your check, you'll drive your car, but you know deep down inside you're stealing it. And you're not really earning it. And everybody else thinks of you that way. And you know that. So there has to be a part of Dion that says, I gotta get out there on the court. Because that's what I do. He loves to play. He does love playing. He's a showman. Remember, he loves that stage. It's not.
I think back to the game when he was in Cleveland, right? And he ripped it. Him and Draj.
But that's a former team, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
There has to be some. I get it that he's kind of hard-headed. I get it that he doesn't get more often than not. But he's in a fork in the road right now that if he doesn't get it, then he's done, dude. He's done. Because if you go 2 years just sitting on a bench, you'll never get playing time ever again. That's it. That'll be the end. Somebody will give you maybe a minimum contract after this, and you'll sit on somebody else's bench for another year or two because they'll just use you as a bench player. But if you ever want to be, again, a frontline player, this is your opportunity now. And you got to play that game if you want to do that. Question is, does Deion want to play that game? And is Deion smart enough to sit back and watch the landscape and say, Kendrick Nunn, look at your numbers. You're struggling. Let me ball extra here in this practice today. Let me kill it in this practice. Let me kill it again in the weight room. I don't know if
Make it impossible for you to not put me on the court.
Yes, coach. Yes, coach. Yes, trainer. Yes, Pat. If you're smart, that's how you work it behind the scenes if you're Deion. You earn your way back, and you jump at the opportunity. Okay? And I'm not saying that the opportunity is there yet, but I am saying that Kendrick Nunn is starting to open that door a little bit. It you know the creaky door? It opened a couple of inches. Small. You can kind of see right through it. Right about there.
Deion wants one of your dogs to run over and stick his nose in
right
and
there.
pop the door open.
Right, yeah. It's like my little dogs. They would stick their nose in there. They can't even fit their own face. That's about where it's creaked open. Just a little bit. Now you got to get it done, Kendrick, because you may have a werewolf sitting on the bench. Integra says, so happy I found you. When I was a little kid, my older cousin won Fusion tickets from your show. Holy crap, dude.
Once upon a time.
Damn, dude. Thanks for reminding me that I'm really, really freaking old. All right, here we go. And he took me. That started my love for soccer. I am happy that you're talking about Inter because no one will. Oh, I mean, that's always, I've always talked local soccer, always will, and always supportive of local soccer. And, yes, Michelle Kaufman will be joining us at 2 o'clock. She joins us every Wednesday at 2 o'clock to talk a little Inter Miami. Let's see. Nico says Kendrick Nunn won Rookie of the Month in November. Yeah, I know. Ray Barreto says, how about those Heat? Big O, they beat a top 5 team in the NBA. This team is not intimidated about playing anyone. Bring them on. The Heat is on. Go Heat. And I'm with you there, Ray. No doubt. This team is fearless, man. It is fun to watch. The other thing that you know what? Let's do this. Let's take a quick break because I've been talking already for about 50 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say, man, your voice is, we don't need to be running out of gas here.
Yeah. We've got some voice right now. May not have any towards the end of the show. We'll see. We'll do our best. Well, we do want to remind you that the show is brought to you by Moody's Dental. Eric is some great people out there, man. Please call Moody's Dental. And they're the implant and Invisalign experts. Take advantage, folks, of your insurance benefits for 2019 before the year runs out. Go get that the teeth cleaned, man. Maybe you need to get, some kind of a crown or a root canal. I know we don't look forward to the root canals. Eric and his staff, they've got the most modern equipment out there. I'm telling you, it is freaking awesome. It's impressive. And listen, before all your benefits run out, call them, 305-821-0231, moody'sdental.com. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Moody's Dental.
This is the Big O Show. This is
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show.
It's a beautiful Wednesday. Welcome aboard. Thank you, as always, for keeping it locked here on the program. Thank you for downloading the show. Spread the word, spread the love. Tell the folks to subscribe on SoundCloud and iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher and Google Play. It's Big O Radio Show. Everything is Big O Radio Show. Okay, the website, which is looking really, really good, should be up. Oh, man. We're working on it, but the website will be BigORadioshow.com. You can already go to it there. You'll see we have like a sound check page up because that's the music side of it. And, you know, it's just kind of a test page that we have up. But
the page looks alive.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay? It
looks
looks like plugged it in and boop, it's lit up.
Yeah, you won't even need to go to YouTube anymore. You could just go to BigORadioshow.com because the YouTube will be embedded there. And so when we're broadcasting live, you'll be able to see it there. And we're still trying to set everything up now to try to take calls through CastBox, which CastBox, if you can, download the app. It's a free app, CastBox. And again, Big O Radio Show is the room that we're going to be broadcasting out of. And that app is going to allow you to call into the show, text into the show, and stream the show. So you don't have to, because right now we have it on video for live purposes. Those of you that are on YouTube right now, you know what I'm talking about. You watch us here every day. Some of you, whenever you can. I know if you have YouTube Premium, you can like eliminate the video and just listen to the audio, but a lot of you don't have YouTube Premium. So we're trying to get a source so we can stream out our show every day that we're on. or even on weekends, even when I do a Dolphin post game or Canes post game, stream it, go live. Why not? I want to be able to do all that, and so we're trying to work all of that for you. But always appreciate it, and just spread the word, tell the folks, get as many people as possible to subscribe for us here on YouTube. Also, we need to get to 1,000. We're approaching 500, so we're almost at the halfway mark of it. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we had like 50 subscribers or something, a few weeks back. So it's up to 433 right now, so we're approaching 500.
Leaps and bounds, but still not where we need to be.
Yeah, we need to get to 1,000.
And it's about being able to give you more.
Yes. It'll be more coverage, better live coverage. So if you can, please subscribe, have your friends subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that good stuff. I don't care if you open up a second account and subscribe to YouTube. Do it. Just get us to 1,000. However the hell you can do it. Yesterday's accomplishment by the Heat was a little extra sauce to what went on yesterday. Why? Because I don't know if you know this, but the Bucks are 9-1 at home. The Miami Heat are 8-0 at home. The Toronto Raptors are 9-1 at home. The Boston Celtics are 7-0 at home. The Philadelphia 76ers are 10-0 at home. That's a combined record of 43-2 by the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. Okay? Now, for those of you that watched the game, you probably learned this fun fact. For those of you that didn't, you'll be impressed. The Bucks 9-1 and Toronto's 9-1 record, the only blemishes on those records, that one, is by your Miami Heat. So 43-2. Those 2 losses are Heat wins. Tonight, the Miami Heat plays the Boston Celtics. They have a shot at handing Boston their first defeat at home this season, which would give them 3 of the top 5 teams. And since maybe they have beaten themselves this year already by playing bad in one game. So you know what? If they could go on to beat Philadelphia at home before anybody else, then it would be all 5. Because even though Miami doesn't have a loss at home, they've beaten themselves somewhere on the road. What the hell? We'll have some fun. Maybe they beat themselves in a game, in a pickup game, in the practice court. How about that?
Neutral site.
How
about that?
There we go. Something like that. Anything. But that would be pretty cool if they beat Boston tonight. And sadly, Boston didn't play last night. I was hoping for that. I was going, damn, they don't play tonight. I was hoping Boston, because at least when they played the Nets the other night, the Nets had played the night before too. So that was cool, even though Miami was on the road, but at least the Nets had played the night before.
When we played Philly in Philly, they had played San Antonio the night before.
Yeah.
In San Antonio.
Yeah, so here at least, in this case, Boston is resting, and then they're waiting for Miami. But Miami can beat Boston. This is not unbeatable. Okay, should they win? Probably not. Boston should win because they're pretty good at home and they're a pretty damn good team, right? Just like Toronto. But Miami is, again, one of those teams, man, that can scare the crap out of anybody.
Probably a bigger factor. Back-to-back, man. Back-to-backs, it's rough.
Yeah.
Especially when you factor in the game. I mean, it was a playoff game.
Yeah.
We went to overtime. Now we're going to go to Boston. You know what I mean?
But you got a fresh Dragon. If he plays today.
Yes, if
he plays today, you got a fresh Dragon. He didn't play last night. So there you go, secret weapon. That was the other thing. You beat them last night with no Dragon. And you would figure that, hey, man, that's a hell of a team. You're going to need Dragon in that game.
You know who's somebody
you got 43 points from the bench. What more do you get with Dragon?
Justice Winslow.
No, he was awesome. It was awesome.
Like whatever, almost like Jimmy Butler kind of, whatever you needed awesome. Jimmy to do. For Justice to do. It's so many times coming down the court, running the point.
He was awesome. Jay is saying, loving how Justice Winslow has come back strong. I'm with you, Jay, on that one. Ray also, Justice is playing a lot better this year. His mid-range shot has gotten better, and his three-point shot's a lot better. He still has to finish around the basket on a more consistent basis. Still has to become a consistent shooter. I don't know if he ever will, but he has to improve his play around the hoop. No doubt about that. What happens when you get 1K subs in YouTube? What does that do to your streaming? You will find out. You will find out how it improves the live coverage. We can't give away. You know what I mean? But trust me, we need it. And if we get it, it's going to be better for you guys, for sure. Better for the show, better for our listeners, everybody. Brandon says, time to hit the Celtics in the mouth tonight. They're going to love us. No Dragon tonight, Brandon says. Oh, well, that's a shame. I was hoping maybe there's a shot he could play maybe tonight. What a shame. I hope that maybe he gets better from now to then. Maybe there's a miracle serum he can take and get his ass out there on the court and play. Would be nice. Definitely need him, man. So tonight, 7:30. The other thing I read, they played Toronto last night. Fred VanVleet, who's turned himself into one heck of a player. And we were talking yesterday. With Ben Ennis from 590 The Fan in Toronto. And and VanVleet was one of those guys that we talked about how he's taken that next step, improving that last year was no fluke. He's averaging right now 18 points, 7.5 assists, and 40% from three-point range. I read an article this morning where he is going to command between $25 and $30 million. About that. That is crazy. You did not. Now, he's probably worth it, but in your eyes, in your perception, you don't look at him like a $25, $30 million player right now because he just kind of burst onto the scene the last 2 years. And you look at him like a bench player, a guy that maybe has been a little bit of an overachiever, but he's actually turned into a really good player, so much so that he's going to command $25 to $30 million. Would you be comfortable paying $25, $30 million a year for Fred VanVleet? It's interesting. And if he signs that contract somewhere else, wow. You're changing environments and you're hoping everything translates. It should if you're a heck of a player. That's the question. You got to be convinced that he is that guy. Remember, you can reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program as we take you till about, I think about 3, right around there, 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there we'll be on till. But you can always reach out on the accidentlawfirm.com text line anytime you're listening to the podcast. Day, nights, it doesn't matter, middle of the night, early in the morning. You got to get it off your chest. Send it in, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. And, of course, you can always reach out to us on Twitter, many ways to reach out to the program on Twitter at Big O Show and on Instagram, Big O Radio Show. That's the way you want to reach out to us also on Instagram as we take you till 2:30. All right, we are going to talk a little basketball at the top of the hour with Gary Washburn, who covers the Celtics and the NBA for the Boston Globe as Miami gets ready to take on the Celtics. The other thing, I don't know if you guys caught this. I didn't use it yesterday when I had it. Was it? Yeah, yesterday because I caught it on Monday night, I think it was. So I had it yesterday, the sound, and you guys remember Steve Young going off on the Dolphins, right? And talking about how he was putting the Dolphins were putting people at risk and for tanking, supposedly, right? And here's Steve Young, by the way.
You might as well just go ahead and waste this year and just flush this year away. And that's unfortunate.
But you can't waste a year. You can't flush away because people have to go play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, what I'm
and
saying,
they put themselves at risk.
organizationally,
But that's the
wasting
problem.
a year on
The
their
GM
career.
can be in the back room, and they can figure out what the big plan is. And the plan might be that we want to get a lot of young players that we don't have to pay for 4 or 5 years. Let's make a Super Bowl run. Let's get a quarterback out of it. Okay, that's the plan. We're going to quietly get rid of some players, but we're going to let everybody know in the locker room that we support them. We're behind you. But when you don't do that, you put people's health at risk. You put people. This is not baseball or basketball. You can tank in basketball. No one's getting hurt. In football, they get hurt. And what the Miami Dolphins have done this year is put people at risk physically, and it's not right. You can't be so irresponsible to people's health.
Now, he really wanted to put life, and just go to a complete extreme, which was, again, just so asinine for Steve Young to do that. So on Monday, I'm watching the Countdown show, right? And Steve Young comes, and he went from being a quarterback to being a cornerback.
And look, back to Brian Flores. We were critical of the management about a week, 6 weeks ago because we believe that they were putting that locker room at risk because of the way that they were not getting rid of players, the messages they were sending. Brian Flores righted that ship. The locker room took control, and I give them a tremendous amount of credit for those guys. What they've done with what they were given.
Yeah,
no
still,
question.
it's a game that the Eagles should have won.
All right, now, first of all, Steve Young, you're full of crap, okay? And it wasn't it was you. You were the one that was critical. You were the one that was saying that they were putting anybody at risk. And let me tell you something, all right, Jagoff? It has nothing to do with Brian Flores. Brian Flores coaches them up. The way you made it sound is that those players physically did not belong on the field because they were all at risk, because it was like putting me on the field. That obviously I'm going to get injured and I can't play offensive line, so I will get the quarterback killed. That's how you made it sound, smartass. Don't give me this crap. Backtracking ass wuss. Oh, yeah, well, want to thank Brian Flores has been kicking ass. I don't need you to tell me that. Steve Young. The dude played the game, and he comes up with the dumbest thing in the world, that you're putting players at risk. These are professional football players, and he made it sound like they're putting a bunch of plumbers out there. He made it sound like those guys were inept. Sam Agwavon is not inept, okay? Neither is any of the other guys, Nick Needham, any of those under-the-radar guys that Steve Young doesn't even know, one of them. He has no idea who the hell Sam Agwavon is. This is the problem when you put people to do a job and they don't work at it. You understand? If you're going to sit there and be an analyst, then watch the games, asswipe. Don't tell me that the players are at risk, because at that moment, leading up to that Pittsburgh game, the team was getting better every week and were very competitive. But you're not watching it. So what are you doing, Steve Young? You're going off of weeks 1 and 2. When 14 guys or 15 or 18, whatever the hell it was added to the roster the week of week 1. Week 1, there were players introducing themselves to each other in the Dolphins because they had no idea who they were. So obviously there was no continuity or chemistry. It wasn't because of what you said, Steve Young. You made it sound like they were completely incompetent and had no business being on the field. You made it sound like they put 22 of me out there on the field. Then that would be the case. If I'm out on the field, then you can say everything you said, Steve Young. But every one of those players are professional football players. They didn't make NFL squads, but they are professional football players. They're big and strong. I bet you that they would injure you right now, Steve, if you got out on the field. Let's see who's at risk. Backtracks, and he makes it sound like so what did Brian Flores give those players? What, he roided them up or something? Is that what he did? Because he taught them safety lessons? Oh, I'll give Brian Flores credit. I'm going to pop that thing back up again, okay?
And look, back to Brian Flores.
Thank you.
We were critical of the management of about a week, 6 weeks ago because we believe that they were putting that locker room at risk because of the way that they were not getting rid of players, the messages they were sending. Brian Flores righted that ship. The locker room took control, and I give them a tremendous amount of credit for those guys. What they've done with what they were given.
Yeah,
no
still,
question.
it's a game that the Eagles should have won.
What the front office gave them. They gave them the players that they're winning with. Obviously, the front office gave you players that you can work with and win with. Here's the thing that it just goes over all the tankers and all. Remember what I told you yesterday about the tanking? Go back and listen to that segment. The tankers have another agenda, and it's their backup agenda. Because if that agenda doesn't work, they go to the other agenda. And he's one of them. It's you can't have one without the other. It's not – Brian Flores has kicked ass. I know that. But the front office has done a pretty good job of finding the young guys so he can kick ass and mold and develop and try to get better. He didn't hand them 22 deadbeats. No, he handed them young players that some of them have some ability, and you can get something out of them. And maybe mold them into something for next year, which some of those young guys will roll over into next year. May not be starters, but they'll be key reserve guys. And trust me, they will be very important as key reserves. You know why? They know the system already. It's pretty good. That helps. Big time. Steve Young, you're full of crap, dude. I would just respect you more if you just came out and said, you know, I was way off the other day. Way off. I made it sound like they were at risk, and they're not at risk. They're a very competent football team. They prove it week in and week out. But the problem is, Steve Young, you don't watch the games. You watch the highlights. And since the Dolphins aren't an elite team, they're not going to be in the highlights. If they show any highlights in a Dolphins game, they're showing the opponent beating the Dolphins. And a couple plays that they made. That's it. But they don't even explain it to you. Hey, they were actually competitive for a certain amount of time in this game. Until this moment in the game. But if you don't watch the games, how can you talk about them? How do you know about the teams? How do you know about the players? It's like when, Screamin' A has been busted a couple times already because he just doesn't watch football. Which, again, why ESPN brings him on to talk about football is beyond me. If you know your employee doesn't do that, it's like a coach that puts a player in position to fail. He's a zone corner, but we're going to play him man-to-man. Jamar Fletcher. That kind of stuff. It's like, don't you get it? He can't do this. Play him the other way. Yeah, no. Let's just put him out there to fail. And there's Steve Young. But I guess you're a Hall of Famer. You can get away with it. You can say all kinds of stupid-ass stuff that make no sense. Between him and the whiny little Dan Orlovsky, those two, I've had enough of those two. No, and throw Booger McFarland in there. Booger McFarland, Dan Orlovsky, and Steve Young. You can throw all three of them out. I've had enough of those three clowns. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, you can also reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show. Follow us there as always. It's a 24-hour talk show on Instagram at Big O Radio Show. And let me tell you something. I know that we all love a good rack, right? Everybody loves a good rack. And your one-stop shop for all of your warehouse needs is Pallet Rack City. Everybody loves a good rack. They buy and sell new and used pallet racking, baby. Largest used racking inventory in South Florida. And they also sell used forklifts and dock equipment. They specialize in knockdowns and installations of your warehouse equipment. So I want you to call Pallet Rack City right now. 305-887-9212. They're at 715 West 20th Street in Hialeah. Call them 305-887-9212. They also sell pallet jacks, hand trucks, dock boards, and most packaging supplies. Call them, baby. Everybody loves a great rack, and you can get your rack at Pallet Rack City.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SCT, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Ricola. Can they become a sponsor? Ah, there we go. Get a little Ricola Jack there, and let's see if it.
You need to be in the mountain with that horn thing, whatever, you know.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Anyway, welcome back. We are going to get in contact now with Gary Washburn from the Boston Globe. Talk a little hoops with Gary. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's really simple. All you got to do is dial 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. Anytime, anywhere in the world, whenever you're listening, you can always reach out to us. And also, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, which we love you for keeping it locked here on YouTube every day, you can also chat on the chat board there on YouTube, and you can reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show. We will play the Brian Flores press conference for you in a few minutes, after we talk to Gary Washburn, and we'll go over his comments and any kind of news or notes out of that press conference so you guys can hear it. We'll play it in its entirety and then get it's not very long, but sometimes some news and notes. And obviously there were some moves today with the Miami Dolphins. We'll get to those also. They had to place somebody on the IR, all kinds of stuff. Another player on the IR. Although the twisted part is you may not be that depressed about it. That's the screwed up part. But anyway, we'll eventually get to that also here on the program.
You know what it is? Like, Flores hasn't proven that he's a good, like, let's keep taking guys away from him. Yeah. Let's keep emptying the plethora of players. No. Yes. You have nothing.
Yes. And for those of you that are asking, because I got a couple DMs on Twitter, that's an Eiffel Tower back there. And that is the Eiffel Tower I bought when I was in Paris this year with the wife for the wedding anniversary, for our 25th wedding anniversary. So I went a little crazy and I bought a big-ass Eiffel Tower. And that's it. So I figured a little memory, you know what I mean? It's my second time in Paris, first time with the wife, and I felt like I had to get some kind of a souvenir. So the Eiffel Tower, plus it lit up. I thought it was cool. It's got a remote and everything.
Got an idea. Remember the picture you had of the Eiffel Tower in the snow?
Oh, yeah.
You need to get like some cotton and this and give it that snow look in the back.
Yeah, just go buy the can, right, and just spray it?
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to mess up your electrical.
Yeah,
just put a little cotton ball in a little
I don't know if the cotton, it might look cheesy. So, yeah, and yes, the Spider-Man, I just felt like, I had the Spider-Man up top, but I figured I'd put it in the shot right behind the Eiffel Tower. So there you go. So that's, for those of you asking, that's why I've got that Eiffel Tower, because it's a memory of the thing. The other thing I bought, which one of my favorite souvenirs I've ever bought in my life, the Arc de Triomphe. There you go. And but let me tell you something. This is a weapon. This thing weighs like 10 pounds. It is pure steel, bro, but it's beautiful. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, if you had it on your desk and somebody walked by and knocked it over and it fell on their foot,
done.
Your foot,
it's broken, but it's beautiful. Beautiful. Cost me like $25. Not that bad, actually. 25, 30. I think it was like 30, actually. It was 30. This is actually for $30, this is cheap. It's actually not expensive. Figured to be a little bit more, but hey, there you go. That's my Arc de Triomphe. Pretty cool. I enjoyed myself while we were. No, Gary, what happened? He can't do it?
Not getting a response.
Oh.
One of the times I called, they hung up the phone.
Oh.
He may be in the middle of something, I'm going to assume.
He might be. He might be.
But he hasn't even texted back, to say, yeah, give me a minute or anything.
Okay. All right, we'll try to get...
we are in a holding pattern, sir.
All right. No. How about this? Get the press conference ready for Brian Flores. Let's move over to Brian Flores. And
switch gears. I just got a text. He's ready.
He's ready? Okay. All right, cool. I was gonna multitask right now and keep doing the show and then text Gary at the same time. Yo, we're trying to get in contact with you. But that's how it is. It's live, baby. That's how we do it. We roll live. I don't mind. That's, you guys get to see the ins and outs of it all and all that good stuff. It doesn't matter to me. It's all good in the hood. So Bill's getting him on now. So we'll talk to my man Gary Washburn from the Boston Globe. You could follow him on Twitter at GWashburnGlobe. He covers the NBA. He covers the Celtics. He does an awesome job. And Gary's always been kind enough over the years to join us here on the program. Gary, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing?
Hey, Big O, how's it going?
I am loving life, man. Cannot complain. Hell, Gary, we got one of the surprises in the NBA. You've got to be just as surprised as we are when you see the Heat at 15-5 and the way they've played this year.
Yeah, I don't time. The Heat have been waiting for a few years to build a team like this and to really have a lot of their, not only the superstars like the Butlers, but the complimentary guys come together. And they, who would have thought like a Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero would be the guys to step up without, like, let's say, Dion Waiters and James Johnson. So I think it's a pleasant surprise, and I think it's made the Eastern Conference more interesting that the Heat are a factor now. And I think that win last night at Toronto was probably one of the biggest wins since the breakup of the Big Three. I think that just says a lot about where the Heat are to win at Toronto. That's one of the tougher places to play in the league.
Yeah, no, and listen, man, they've beaten Milwaukee. They've beaten Toronto at home, and, the Celtics are another undefeated team right now. The top 5 teams in the conference are 43-2 at home, and those 2 losses are both to Miami. So tonight, Miami's trying to do it again and give one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference a home loss. So how good are these Celtics right now? Because obviously they're pretty damn good at home.
Yeah, they haven't had a lot of home games. They played mostly on the road. They were able to beat Toronto and Milwaukee at home. They're a solid club right now. They're not playing their best basketball. Gordon Hayward's been out for the last few weeks with a hand injury. Marcus Smart will not play tonight because he's sick and he's got an abdomen injury, so a little bit shorthanded. But I think, like the Heat, they've been one of the pleasant surprises in the Eastern Conference. They've been able to play well in the road. They've been able to kind of be more harmonious. Last year was a chaotic year in Boston for the Celtics, and they've kind of put that behind them and moved forward. So this should be a very competitive game. Who knows what the Heat has in terms of energy after an overtime game. Toronto-Boston is a tough back-to-back. The Celtics have been off since Sunday afternoon, so we'll see which team has the most energy. But I think the Heat will come and play a good game.
Yeah, I believe that too. I think, Gary, they will come and play one hell of a game there with the Celtics. But when you look at the team now, and I got to tell you something, Gary, and it's not because I'm some genius or anything, but I think a lot of us that follow the game, when we saw Kyrie go out and we looked at Kemba come in, I thought it was the perfect fit. I thought it was a genius move by Danny Ainge, and it's really translated on the court, right? That is the leader that this team needed, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think they needed more of a stabilizing force. And Kyrie had never been a leader before in any of his teams. I mean, he's a young guy that's still trying to figure it out. And I just think it was kind of a bad combination last year to kind of throw him into that role, and he asked for it, so it was his fault to be the leader of a team that was seeking a championship, and he was going through his own emotional issues, his own personal issues, and it reflected that on the team and kind of left a really bad stench on the team. Just his personality affected the team greatly. And I just think now, bringing a guy like Kemba Walker, he's mellow, he's a chill guy. He doesn't get too excited, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And I think he's absolutely thrilled to go that he has a chance to win every night. I mean, I think that, I think what we take for granted is everybody has a chance to win. We look at all the league superstars, and we want them to all win championships. But there are, quite honestly, a lot of players around the league that don't get to win. They're playing bad organizations, bad teams, that never get to a playoff series or never win a playoff series. And Kemba's never won a playoff series in his career. So the fact that he's on a team that has a chance to win most nights, they're not going to win every night, obviously, but they have a chance to compete every night. He's thrilled. So I think that harmony has spread into the locker room, and they are a much happier bunch.
It looks also like it looks like the roles are a little bit more defined now. It's almost like the point where you almost had too much talent last year. Is that the deal?
Yeah, too much talent, too many guys with personal agendas. Free agency was coming up for a couple of guys. A couple of guys were looking at their rookie contract extensions. Other guys had done well in the playoff run before. They went, to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and they were a win away from the NBA Finals. And there's guys who had contributed to that team that said, listen, they want more of a role. And then you bring back Kyrie and Gordon Hayward and thrust them into the offense, and it just the chemistry never worked. And unfortunately for the Celtics, they tried. They had all the talent. They were probably the most talented team in the NBA last year besides the Warriors, and they just botched it. And I just think everybody around the organization knows that last year was a wasted year, and they tried to make up for that and move forward.
Well, what did Brad Stevens said he learned from this? Because as a young coach, that was a first experience for him on having to deal with so many egos, so many agendas.
I think for him, his biggest faux pas of that whole thing was he lets, and I think we all would do that in many cases. He walks into a locker room and these guys are grown men, they're making money, they got families, they have their own lives, they're grown. These are not college kids, although they're college age, a lot of them, but they're not college kids, they're grown men. And he let the players over his years police themselves. He did not get involved in locker room issues. He did not put his hands on certain things. I think last year he did that and it burned him. And there was all these issues going on in the locker room that either he didn't know about or he ignored because he said, hey, they'll handle it. I got veterans in there that will police the locker room, and they couldn't police it. And by the time he learned and got all the information about it, it was too late. And it was too far gone. And I think now he probably has more of a hand in locker room issues, how these guys get along, some of the young guys compared with some of the veteran guys, because it was just such an interesting mix. Al Horford was a 32-year-old veteran who led by example, didn't really say much. Marcus Morris, a guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve. Terry Rozier, a guy who wanted to start, and now he obviously is in Charlotte. There was a lot of guys and a lot of agendas, and it's not that they hated each other. They just they weren't that close. And I think Steven has learned, hey, I got to put my hands on this a little bit more in terms of locker room chemistry than I did before.
He looks like a great communicator. He looks like a cerebral guy. How is he as a disciplinarian? Because I don't see him as that disciplinarian guy. I kind of see him as the guy that gets to you with logic. So you tell me, because you're around him.
Yeah, I mean, he will never air out his players to the media. I think the players respect that. he'll just bench you. He'll just not play you. He'll just, play a different guy. And you just know that it's something you're doing. And I'm sure he'll bring you in his office and he'll explain it. He'll pull you aside and he'll give you all the consultation that you need. But I also think that's his way of letting you know, hey, you're not getting the job done. And I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to air you out. I'm not going to say anything to the media. But, the other night he pulled center Daniel Tice, played 7 minutes. He's a starting center. He played 7 minutes the other night at Brooklyn because he didn't like the way he played. And so that was the message. Hey, man, you're not getting it done. Sit right next to me here on the bench. And that's his communication. And I think that he does a lot more in private. And unlike some coaches who air out their players in the media or who it's not my fault, it's the player's fault, Stevens takes responsibility for putting his players in positions to succeed. And if you're not succeeding, you'll put another player in that position to succeed.
Gary Washburn joining us here from the Boston Globe, NBA writer, covers also the Celtics. Follow him on Twitter at @GWashburnGlobe. Gary, how deep do they go? Because it looks like he still goes pretty deep into that bench.
Yeah, I mean, they incorporated 2 rookies this year into the rotation, Grant Williams and Carson Edwards. Brad Wanamaker has played well as a backup point guard, so he can go deep. I mean, the center position has been fluid. I mean, you got Tice, Enes Kanter, Robert Williams. You just got a rotating kind of merry-go-round of center. So they play a lot of different guys. And then you got the mainstays, your Kimbas, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. And it was Marcus Smart, but he's out tonight against the Heat. So, he'll mix and match. He'll play whatever lineup he feels like it's best. If it's super small, super big, medium, whatever lineup he feels like is going to succeed, he'll do that. They're going to have a tough time. They're going to have to figure out who's going to defend Jimmy Butler. They're a team that gives up a lot of threes. Miami likes to shoot the 3 ball.
That's not good. That's not a good combination tonight, man. Yeah. Yeah,
the Robinsons and the Heroes like to shoot that 3 ball, so they're going to have to figure out a way to play better defense on that 3-point shot. Or I don't say it could get ugly, but Miami could definitely walk away with another win.
Wow. You made me feel good. I like it, Gary. Yeah. All right, Gary, let me ask you. I would imagine that when you start hearing the stories that are already coming out of Brooklyn with Kyrie and how awkward he is and the lack of communication and those kind of things and his moodiness and all of that, how much of that caught you by surprise when he was there with the Celtics? How much of that got out to you guys, his quirkiness?
I think there's always been a reputation. He's always had a reputation of being a guy with different personalities, depending on the day, the time, the circumstance, the situation. And the question was, when he came to Boston, could he handle the leadership of a team to be the face of the franchise, which is what he wanted, and it ended up that he couldn't handle it. And I think in Brooklyn, they're going to have to deal with it. They're committed to 4 years of him, so they're going to have to deal with it. So they're going to make all the, the whole thing is easy as possible for him. They're going to defend him. They're going to have his back. They're not going to say nothing's going to get out in terms of the Brooklyn side, the Nets side, because they're committed. They signed him to a max contract or a 4-year deal, and Kevin Durant's coming back next year, and so they're going to just kind of get through this year to see how he handles it and where they go, and then hope, cross their fingers that next year with Durant back, then they become a championship contender. But I think everybody knew, one, Kyrie's not a guy who's going to play in a whole lot of 82 games. He's not a guy who's going to play every game. He's going to sit out with some injuries. That's already happened. And is he going to have his certain personality quirks? Yes. Is his talent good enough to deal with that and overcome that? In some situations, yes, it is. So I think the Nets are hoping this is the case, that he plays so well and he does so many good things on the court, to kind of ignore some of the things off the court.
It's one of those things that I always had that discussion with people that I never considered him a superstar because I don't think that he has the leadership qualities that you need from a superstar. All-star, no doubt in my mind, with that handle and the shooting and all of that. But to me, that was the one thing that team needed. That team needed, and you know what? Kemba's not a superstar, but he's a super leader. He's just one of those guys that knows how to bring people together. And hell, that Hornets franchise, the little they accomplish, it's because of that guy. That guy was the heart and soul of that. And that's the thing about Kyrie. I wonder if he ever feels that need to. I don't know how to phrase it, but it's have that passion that you've got to have to lead. You know what I'm saying? To care that much. That's just not him. It's not his DNA.
No, I think he would like to be considered a leader, but I think emotionally he is not steady enough. I'm not going to say stable, but steady enough to be the voice of reason. To say, "Hey guys, we lost 4 in a row. Let's chill. Let's go bowling, or let's not panic here. Let's do something team-wise. Let's get it together. You know, let's not panic. I've been through these things before." That's what leaders do, and I don't know if he was capable of that last year. And that's a good question. I mean, is he matured over a year? Is he happy that he's home and there's Jersey home? We don't know. I think the biggest issue with Kyrie Irving is I don't think anyone knows, and maybe he doesn't either, what makes him truly happy. You know, he said, "I wasn't happy in Cleveland. When we won the title, I wasn't, you know, I was like, this is great, but let's move on." Like, that's what he said. So he wasn't happy being a champion. Was he happy being a gold medalist? No. I covered him in that Rio Games. He was miserable most of the time in the Olympics. So what makes him happy? And I think that's what the thing is. He's been trying to find his happiness, and you can't have a leader who's trying to find out who he is and what makes him happy. That's not going to work.
Wow. Man, if he gets married between him and his wife, wow, that's going to be that's a lot, man, because you got to try to make your wife happy all the time. And now Kyrie's, no, you got to make me happy. Wow, that's going to be one hell of a race when he's married. All right, as I digress here, Gary, who's the guy that we all know Kemba's kind of the leader of that team, but I would imagine one of the other young guys has to kind of take that step forward. Has that happened, and who's that guy?
Both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have taken steps forward. Brown's been more steady and consistent. Tatum can be the guy who can drop 30 on you. They make kind of the Sports Center highlight play. So both those guys are taking an expected step forward. It was Gordon Hayward who was playing very well before his injury. Obviously, he's out tonight and for the next probably couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But those two guys, Tatum and Brown, have been pleasant surprises in terms of their ability to take a step forward with Kyrie gone and take more of a responsibility and leadership role with the team. That's what they needed.
Oh, that's the one thing that I was always wondering, because they obviously you always need somebody to kind of take that leadership, and outside of Kemba, you would like it to be somebody from within that locker room that's been there for a while. Gary, what's the prediction? What happens tonight? You got the Heat, you got the Celtics. Who wins?
You know, Big L, I've not watched enough of the Heat to really think. I just have not caught a lot of their games on the League Pass. They haven't had a lot. They've been kind of overshadowed on the national television situation, too. I haven't seen a lot of Heat. I think it's a close game just because the Celtics are at home and they've got some 3 days off. I think they pull it out. But it's going to be a very good game. And I think that it's good to see Spo have a really good competitive team. He's a great coach, and I think, you know, some of his guys have kind of betrayed him over the last couple of years with not being in shape or not being ready or whatever, the Deion Waiters situation. But it's good to see Spo have a real good team to work with where they can maybe make a long playoff run.
Gary, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time and dropping the knowledge. Follow him on Twitter at @GWashburn and catch his exceptional work there at the Boston Globe as he covers the NBA and the Celtics. Gary, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, Big O. Thank you.
You got it, baby. There you go. Gary Washburn. Good stuff there from the Boston Globe, as always. Appreciate that. That one soundbite where he talked about the Heat shooting. He hadn't seen that a lot, but talking about, and he's right about it, that the Heat do love, they're one of the top 3-point shooting teams. And if the Celtics are going to suck that much at defending the three, that is a nice combination for Miami going into this game. And Brandon was right that sent in that text on the YouTube chat board. Goran Dragic, strain right growing. I see it there where Eric Spoelstra said he is out for tonight, unfortunately. So there will be no miracle cure.
Groin injury?
Yes.
2 weeks, 3 minimum?
Well, it depends. Depends on how bad it is. He's already missed a couple of days. Maybe he's getting closer. You never know.
That's one of those ones
you can't rush
it. Until it's well.
Yeah.
You start messing with it. If you're 80% up, guess what happened?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Can't argue with that. Let's see. What do we got here?
Should be a long night for the Celts, man.
Yeah.
If they can't defend the three, Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Show up, kid. Please keep Dion where he is.
Yes, definitely. Ian from Brooklyn says, "Get him, oh, Steve is an ass clown." I guess you're young. Yes, he is an ass clown. Uncle Joe's laughing at my Jamar Fletcher comment. Ray Barretto, bring those scissors back like Hank Goldberg. Play the soundbite of cutting off somebody's balls when they make stupid comments. Remember Big O? Oh, I remember that. That was funny. Let's see. You're a trooper, Big O. Sick and still working. Well, brother, you got to grind, man. You got to grind. That's how I am in life, man. I don't give up the fight, man, ever. Edward says, Flores, magic, a whole lot of magic. Oh, I like it. He's using that Warriors line. What do you know about Cyrus? A whole lot of magic. I like it. Edward, nice. Brandon says the tower is cool. Damn right, baby. Thank you, sir. That Eiffel Tower. Spider-Man better watch his nuts. Spider-Man's nuts are really close to the point. Yeah. He's got to watch out how he climbs over the Eiffel Tower. Nice job by you, Edward. The Truth says, Big O, love the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And Brandon chimes in again, says Olynyk and Robinson look good today. Yes, those guys are they're playing well, man. Olynyk's been a pleasure off the bench. He's been fantastic. And to do what they let me tell you, you're beating Milwaukee without Jimmy. No, was it Milwaukee or Houston? No, you beat Milwaukee with Jimmy. You beat Houston without Jimmy. Now you beat Toronto without Dragon. If you can also beat Boston now without Dragon, you're missing some of your key guys. Now, what's it called? Gary also filled us in that the Celtics are missing a few guys too. So they're not coming in completely healthy. Marcus Smart is out with an illness. He's ruled out for today's game. Let's see who else I think he said. I'm looking here. I know he mentioned somebody else besides Marcus Smart. So they're missing, I think, 2 players. I don't know which is the other one. I'm trying to look at it here on the injured list, see if there's anything. But
Hayward's out. He's out till like December.
That's right.
I know he's one of the guys sitting on my bench.
That's right. Hayward and Smart are the 2 guys out.
Him and Russell and the guy from Atlanta that you own too. They're all sitting there.
John Collins,
yeah, man.
Yeah. So that is so they'll be missing those guys tonight. That's cool for us. Brings up brings it a little bit more even overall. I like that. I don't want them at completely full strength when Miami isn't at full strength. I mean, Dragon's a hell of a loss for Miami off the bench, man. And this is a night where you're going to need, something like that off the bench. Oh, then again, you could get another 43 points from the bench. I'll take it. 43 points from your bench is just absolutely awesome. All right, with Dragon, it was 70 against the Warriors the other night. It's pretty awesome right there.
Back end of back-to-back and an overtime in front of it. Yeah, man. Jaraj would be immense help.
No doubt. All right, let's tell you a little bit about Choice Mortgage Bank. When we come back on the other side, we are going to play the Brian Flores press conference for you and then go over his comments and any news and notes that comes out of it. We'll give you our thoughts on all of that. But before we do any of that, you got to visit my guy, Michael Kotze. Hey, pick up the phone and call him. Tell him that Big O sent you. Trust me. Get your mortgage situation fixed. Call him 561-441-2730. You're looking to move into that new home and you want to call that mortgage company. You're getting the run around the banks. Call Michael Kotze right now. Maybe you want to get into a better deal. You want to lower it. Right now we can get you into a fixed mortgage rate under 3.5%. Maybe you're paying 4.5%, 5%. Let's get you into a better deal so you have more money at the end of the month. Call the hardest working man in the business, the people's mortgage man, Michael Kotze, at 561-441-2730.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19. Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kotze now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kotze can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million, whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Welcome back.
This is the Big O Show.
Appreciate you all hanging in there as always. Thank you for viewing the show, supporting it as always. We take you till about 3 o'clock, right around there. Maybe 2:30, I don't know. But 2:30 will be about 4 hours, so that's probably about our max.
I was going to say, it's probably not your choice, it's your voice.
It's my voice, yeah.
That's going to dictate what happens here, bro.
Yeah, the voice is probably, you are 1,000% right. When you write, you rat. And, I even got an appearance tonight. I'm going to be at an event with Susan Miller-Degnan and Craig Minervini. We're going to be at an event. So Touchdown Club, we're going to have some fun. I hope I still have a little bit of a voice for that. So I'm hoping we'll be able to get through it. But it should be fun tonight. I'm looking forward to. I haven't seen Susan in a while, and saw Craig. Last time I saw Craig, I think it was at the hockey game. The last time I saw him. I will say this, Craig, mustaches are not your thing, dude. Do the beard. You look like Sancho Panza with the beard.
Yeah,
with the mustache. It was not a good look for him.
Yeah, but that's the month.
November. I know.
You gotta.
That's what I'm saying. Go beard. He looks better with a beard, and the mustache it made him look too like. Although it's good down here, but it made him look like real Hispanic, like really weird Hispanic. Like when he's not Hispanic, his name is Minervini. Because it was like an odd-looking thing. The mustache just did not jive with Minervini. He's got to be a bearded dude. He's got to be happy that he's shaved the mustache already, I would imagine.
It was just for the cause.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I did my own Movember, but I do it in every month now. That's what I do. I got my goatee every month. Every month for me is a Movember. Anyway, if you want to get in, 786-322-1105 on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. All right, let's hear from Brian Flores. The head coach today addressed the Meteors, and we were going to play the press conference for you and get you an opportunity to hear Brian Flores and see what he said today. They made a few moves. They claimed running back Zach Zenner off of Arizona. Kalen Ballage was placed on the IR with an Achilles injury. You feel bad for him that he suffered an injury, but admit it. There's another part of you that says, yeah, I'm kind of glad he's out for the rest of the year because we need to see the other guys. I've seen enough of Kalen Ballage. I know you're saying it, so I'll say it for you. And most people won't have the balls to say it, but I will. They also claim wide receiver Trevor Davis from Oakland, former fifth-round pick of the Packers. So those were some of the moves yesterday by the Miami Dolphins. I also have some sound I want to play from Doug Peterson, too, talking about the loss to Miami. Are we ready here? Can we get to...
Just to give you a heads up, we're looking at 12:40 on this one.
All right.
Yeah, it's a long one.
All right, let's go. Let's play Brian Flores. Kick it off.
They take care of their bodies in season. Fitz has obviously done that along with some other quarterbacks throughout the league. It's a tough position to play. I know that. You guys take a lot of hits, stuff mentally, physically, emotionally, and not everyone can do it. So we're happy with the way Fitz is playing right now, but we've got to continue to play that way.
You had 40 passes, 20 runs, wildcats, some trick plays. Most points in the season, most yards. Is that sustainable? Do you think you guys can really sustain this next 4 games, especially with how you guys are at the running back position?
The offensive output or the okay. I think every week's different. We've got a lot of challenges this week with the Jets and their style of play and good run defense. They've been playing well defensively, I would say, over the last 4 weeks. So every week's a little bit different. So we'll try to game plan and scheme up a few things to put our guys in the best position. If that's Wildcat, then it's Wildcat. If it's 40 passes, like you said, it's 40 passes. If it's the run game is working, then we'll do that. but every week's a little bit different. So we'll just try to like we always do. We'll try to play to our strengths, try to take advantage of their weaknesses, and try to play a good offensive and really good ball game in all three phases.
What do you attribute the improvement in the red zone offense to?
Practice and execution, and players making plays in those situations. We had a couple guys, Devontae, Mike, Patrick Laird, look, in the red zone in this league, you have to make, the field's condensed, so you got to make good throws, you got to make good catches. It's a tight coverage. It's harder to run the football down there because the safeties are right there. It's. I think we've got guys. We practice well in the red zone. We're having better execution in the red zone. But at the end of the day, players got to go up and make plays as well. So we've had that.
Brian, I know different sports over the years I've encountered, when a team is not in playoff contention anymore, sometimes management will ask the coach to see certain player. Don Mattingly mentioned that to us last year, that Marlins management said, could you play these guys so we can take a look and evaluate them? Does that happen with Chris at all? Does he tell you, I'd like in the final month to see maybe a couple of this young guy, et cetera?
Chris and I, we have conversations, like that all year. So that would be no different than it's been the entire season. We're trying to look. We've had as many guys play. I'm not sure of this, but as many guys as anybody on in the league. So we've taken a look at a lot of guys. We'll continue to take a look at different guys and see if what combination is the right combination. What different guys can do with different groupings, and try to give guys an opportunity to see if they can help this team, this particular week and also in the future. So I think that's something we've done all year, and we'll try to continue to do that.
What can you tell us about Balage's injury, and if it's very serious and could affect him in 2020?
Kalen obviously went out, leg injury. Look, if this were earlier in the season, I think, we'd be able to get him back, just because we've got 4 games left. We decided to put him on IR, but serious, to a degree, but this isn't a 6 month or 4 months. I think if this were earlier in the season, we'd put him down for a few weeks and hopefully get him back.
You've mentioned on occasion how special Coach Mangiero is.
Mangiero,
sorry, to pronounce. As you head home to coach a game on Sunday, can you reflect on sort of the impact he's had on you and where you are today?
Well, it's not just me. There's a lot of guys who went through the program there, our high school program, and in Brooklyn, and now he's coaching in New Jersey at Mater Dei. So he's impacted a lot of young men, and I think you learn a lot about life playing football. I've told a lot of people this. Everything I learned to be successful in life, I learned in those meeting rooms and on that practice field in Brooklyn, and from him. So hard work, great effort, compete, preparation, being on time, and just overall doing things the right way. So it'll be nice to see him this weekend. And it's always great to see him and his family, and then hopefully we'll get some of the guys from high school.
Is there one specific thing that he may have instilled in you that you still utilize when you're out there on the sideline to this day?
There's a lot. If there's one specific thing, look, he was big on being mentally tough. Obviously being physically tough, but being mentally tough and dealing with adversity and dealing with good times and bad times, and never get too high, never get too low. You got to try to stay even. That's something that I've taken with me since 1995 when we first met. So he's a great coach, and I was lucky to learn from him, along with a lot of young guys.
Anticipate going back to your childhood home or having people from your childhood come to the game this weekend?
yeah, it's a kind of a long ride from Jersey. But you know, I was in Brooklyn, you know, this past summer, so it's hard to get back down there or back up there. But there's a lot of good people there, and I learned a lot about, you know, I got a lot of life lessons growing up in Brooklyn, and there'll be some friends and family there, but I probably won't get a chance to get back there.
What is it about high school coaches and the impact they have? Because you see guys get to the NFL, and a lot of times you can ask them who had the most influence on your life, and they'll talk about their high school coach, even when they get to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Sometimes those guys they're presenters.
Mm-hmm. I think it's, you know, that time, you know, 14 to, let's call it 18, mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, I mean, kids are going through, you know, those adolescent years and trying to find themselves, you know, as men. They're right in that maturing process, and you know, that mentorship, that leadership, that the impact that's made in that time, I think it goes a long way to shaping a young mind, and you know, that's why I have so much respect for high school coaches in all sports. You know, football, baseball, basketball, soccer. You know, men's sports, women's sports. I mean, all of it. I mean, there's such an impact that's made, and it's something that you know, the lessons you know, I learned and kids learned on the high school level. I think they take with them really throughout their lives, and I think it gets shaped in a way that is positive, and that's always a good thing.
Have you got any messages this year from your high school coach or your coaches, you know, maybe through some of the highs just that maybe made you smile?
I mean, yeah, I talked to Dino a lot. He's always got words of encouragement. But you know, whether it's college coaches, you know, other coaches I've worked with, you know, I've gotten a lot of messages, and I've gotten support in the good times and the bad times, and those are, you know, those are your real friends, and the people who those are people who are going to support you, you know, good and bad, and it's been nice.
Ryan, regarding the Eric Rowe contract extension, what was it that made you guys want to make sure that he stayed around?
Well, Eric, you know, he's a versatile player. Obviously, he's played multiple positions this year. Again, another conversation between Chris, myself, Brandon. Just felt like we had an opportunity to, you know, redo the contract or extend the contract is really what I was thinking of saying. Do the extension, and look, if we feel like that's the right move on a particular player, they're all case by case, then we'll try to get it done. They don't always get done, but in this case, you know, both sides were able to work it out, and you know, we got it done.
You play corner and safety, but what is it about his strengths and skill set that have actually worked out quite well at safety?
I think he's got good length. He's a good matchup for, you know, tight ends in coverage. He's still got a ways to go from a run game standpoint, which it's hard to, you know, that you know, going from, you know, corner run fits to safety run fits is very different, and something that, you know, he's picked up quickly, but he's got some improvement to make there. But he can also, you know, still go out there and play some corner as well. So we're not saying that that's out of the, you know, we're not doing that. So he's versatile. He's played some, you know, deep half, middle field safety. You know, he's played corner, safeties, and kind of understands the run fits now. So that versatility helps, you know, will help us defensively, and hopefully he just continues to improve. And we expect that. We expect him to improve, and you know, we wouldn't have, you know, done the deal if we didn't think that.
Picture of what this team would look like by the end of the season, and are they on pace to be that?
No, you never really have a ideal, I mean, picture of what it's going to be. Every year's different, and you know, there's so much, you know, change on a team every year, whether it's, you know, through transactions or injury, or so I never have a, hey, look, I want the team to look like this. You hope everybody stays healthy, and the team you put out there on day one is the same as week 16, but that's very highly unlikely. So things are fluid in this league, and I think we've got to be able to adapt and adjust and make the best of whatever situation comes up. And I think we've done that to a degree, but we're still learning to do that. And this team's still growing and trying to improve and build. And I think if we just stay on that path, then we'll be okay. We got a tough game this week. The Jets are a good team. They're talented. They won 3 or 4. They got good coaching. They got good players. And look, this is going to be a tough challenge for us. So we got to go get. We have to have a good week of practice, and if we want to give ourselves a chance to play well. So.
Final question. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go. Did he, with a straight, good coaching on the Jet side? All right, yeah, they've won 3 or 4. They've got good players. They've got good coaching. Huh? I know. He's got to say that. I get it. The coach has got to be PC and say that Adam Gase can actually coach when you and I know he can't coach through a paper sack. We all know that Adam Gase sucks. Okay? Bottom line, Adam Gase blows.
That's right off of Belichick press conference 101.
That's it, baby. Talk everybody up. They could be playing Samford High School, and they're, Samford, those guys are awesome. They're undefeated right now in 2A. They're going to give us everything we can handle. Yeah, sure, Coach. Good coaching, huh? It's a good joke by Brian Flores to talk about Adam Gase that way. It's a good joke on his part. Maybe, Brian Flores has got a future as a stand-up comedian. Now, when Barry Jackson asked him if the GM tells you who to play, and, he was using the Marlins and all that good stuff, I'm going to be interested to see what he writes about it, because at no point did the coach ever say that he tells you what to do. Because I don't think that there's always been conversations since the beginning of time with the front office and their coaches or manager or whatever sport we're talking about. Because you both are watching what's going on the ice, on the pitch, on the field. You know what I'm saying? Or on the diamond. And you have to discuss about this player or that player. And then you discuss how to handle this player or that player. Because, I'll give you an example. I'm sure Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, they're having their conversations on how to handle the Dion Waiters situation. But then the other conversation on how to handle the minutes between Dragic off the bench and somebody else, it's a whole different kind of conversation. But it's had. And it's something that you need to talk about. But is it a directive? No. That was what happens with Al Davis. That's what used to happen with Jeffrey Loria. That's what happens with Jerry Jones. Right? These are the kind of owners that are meddling. These are the kind of people that are going to get in the way of your coach and do things that Dan Snyder is going to do the same thing. Whatever he's in love with, you're going to have to roll with it, whether you like it or not. That's just the landscape. I would hope, because the way that Flores described it, it's a conversation. And that's a normal thing in all pro sports. And at no point was it ever said that it was a directive on who to play. No, it's a conversation on, hey, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of that guy? I don't like this. I like this. I see this. I don't see that. That's
just
what it is.
Making sure you're seeing the same thing and you're on the same page and we're together.
That's it.
If you're not having communication, is this pretty much you're gone. If
Right.
we're not really talking and there's no communication between personnel and the coaching staff, right?
Right.
There's something broken down, and it's just a matter of time before somebody's gone.
Unless it's Belichick. That you're
Well,
both. So you don't
You're
have
wearing
that.
both hats, right?
Right.
Well,
So the only
but
conversation
he may have a
could
conversation with himself.
No, he probably does. But with the owner is probably what he has. But those are rare, and those are Antonio Brown. It's big problems. Everything else, Bill will handle, however he sees fit, because he's earned that right. Whereas here, it's going to be a team thing. And by the way, just to kind of let me elaborate a little bit more on what I think also happens. It's not just Grier in that room. I believe Marvin Allen's in that room. I believe Reggie McKenzie's in that room, along with Brian Flores. I believe those four men are in that room talking football. And they're all talking about what they see, they don't see, they like, they don't like. Because think about this. Okay. I love all this stuff because to me, I have a little insight on how this kind of stuff is done. And do you think you're going to be able to tear down a team to the bone without the coach knowing? You think that conversation hasn't been had? I mean, months ago, okay, Chris Grier and Brian Flores, they mapped all this out. The only thing that surprised them was Tunsil and Fitz. That's it. That was a curve that they had to adjust, okay? And then we'll see if they drive it out of the park. That's the next thing. You're waiting for a fastball, but no, it's a breaking pitch. You thought fast, I got to hold off a little bit and wait for it to break so I could get it. That's the problem here. And that conversation's already been had. They continue to have these conversations. Just like Kalen Ballage. He just told you the injury's not career-threatening. It's not a long-term injury, but it's long enough that the 4 weeks are not enough of a window that he'll be healthy. So put him on the IR, and he's done. It's a conversation they probably had. He didn't just put him on the IR. Chris Grier and the staff, they probably sat down, what do you think? The trainer probably came in and said, it'll be a stretch to get him healthy for 4 weeks from now. All right, so then what are we wasting our time for? Let him just rehab next year. He'll come into training camp. He'll compete with everybody else. All those conversations, what Brian Flores said today is not earth-shattering. There's no news in it whatsoever because it's normal. It's what normal football teams do. It's what normal football structures go through. Because there's a personnel guy and there's a coach, right? And there are two different jobs, but they both have the same agenda. They all look at the game film. They all see what they're playing and practicing, and they're all also watching them on other teams before they grab them. Right before they, I can't even remember the guy's name now, Zach Zenner. Right before they grabbed Zach Zenner, trust me, they pulled in the coach. What do you think about this? Look at this kid. We kind of like him. We need a running back right now. This is the next guy on our list. What do you think? It's him or him or him. They probably showed him film a couple guys. And they all agreed on Zenner, and then that's it. That's who they grabbed. That's how you do things. That's how you actually have structure. That's how you have communication. That's how you also do responsible things, by talking about it. Mapping out. Do you know why? I thought Ron Rivera had a great line yesterday in his press conference. He said, I always try to surround myself with smart people because smart people will make me smarter. Because whatever areas I lack, I will learn from them. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what he said. And there's a lot of that perception out there for a lot, and it's reality. that some people won't hire somebody that's equal or smarter because they feel threatened by them, that they might lose their job to them or that they might be outshined or something along those lines. If you're confident in your ability, you're not worried about that. And you will become a better person, a better leader, a better player, a better coach, a better front office executive if you allow yourself to listen to others and feedback and opinions and philosophies and theories and everything else. And that's what goes on behind the scenes with the GM, with the head coach, with the college personnel director, with the pro player personnel director, with the trainer, with the QB coach, with the running backs coach, with the tight ends coach. Depending on what you're looking at, you're calling different people into that meeting. Because you need to get those experts, because you're not a trainer, you're a GM. You're not a coach, you're a GM. You're not a QB coach, you're a GM. You're not a receivers coach, you're a GM. So if you're smart, you bring those people in to help you make those decisions. Because whatever you're talking about, it's going to be somebody's strong suit in that building. Use that person as a sounding board.
We are up on it, man. We need to get with Andy.
Oh. Fantasy basketball is next.
As much as I didn't want to stop it, I loved it. And you're giving us great insight. And yeah, you know how the inner workings. If you're a franchise that's going and doing the right things, you know what I mean. Everybody on the same, everybody together. You got to communicate.
It's the norm. Just like it's the norm to go to Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas in stock. They're open till midnight. It's the #1 official volume Toyota dealer in the country. And, of course, it's just a couple blocks south of that big, beautiful guitar off the turnpike, folks. 1841 North State Road 7. You can get special introductory savings on new 2020 models. Man, it's a staff that's second to none. They got a great sales staff also. They got a selection that is just absolutely amazing, which you're going to love that, right? Because you like to have, I want it in red. Well, we don't have it. They're going to have the cars in almost every color that you need there. You know what I mean? That's the idea. You want to have a large selection so you can pick the car you want, the color you want, the style you want, the model you want, but more importantly, the price you want at Toyota of Hollywood.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million, whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodzie now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All righty, yes, sir. We promised you we're going to start this hour talking a little fantasy basketball, and we do it with Andy Behrens. Every Wednesday here on the program, send in your fantasy basketball questions. If you got some questions, you send them in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line at 786-322-1105. You can also send them in on the YouTube chat board here, on Twitter at Big O Show. Follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens, and catch his work at Yahoo Fantasy. Good afternoon, Andy. How you doing, my man?
Big O, I'm good. I'd be better if I had a little bit more Luka. Be better if I had a little bit more James Harden, but I don't. I'm doing okay. How was your Thanksgiving, man?
It was great, brother. As long as I can relax, and the food was actually decent, considering my mother-in-law wasn't in town. So it was all right. It was all right. I survived, which was a good thing. Although
survive in advance.
Yeah. The Harden thing, that was a rough one because you get a lot of points one way, but then you get a lot of negatives with a lot of misses. If that was, your league scoring, of course.
Honestly, it's one of the weirdest great seasons I can recall. This man is averaging almost 40 points a game. The man is averaging 39.5 points a game, and he's doing it without even shooting a particularly good percentage. So you have this fantasy problem in categories leagues where, like, he just went 11 for 38. Like, you're gonna lose your week in field goal percentage off of an 11 for 38 performance, but he also scored 50. He's actually been sort of digging into his numbers a little bit today. His effective field goal percentage is one of the best of his career. It's like the fourth best of his career. I mean, taking 14 threes a game is just not, the rules of fantasy basketball were even built for that. It's a tough one. It's an amazing season, and I will double down on the prediction that at some point this year he's going to score 80. He's gonna hit that Kobe number, because if he's averaging 40 a game, it's not that uncommon for people to have like one game in which they score twice their average. He's just gonna have a game where he's hot and it's competitive into the fourth quarter, and he's gonna end up with like 85 points.
I got to tell you that last night was a funky game. And here's the thing, and I got to give props to myself on this, because a couple days ago, I noticed that there was an uptick in minutes for Lonnie Walker IV. And obviously, as a Canes fan, I follow him a little closer than most people. And I'm looking at the Spurs stinking out the place, and I'm going, okay, the DeRozan and Aldridge rumors maybe do become something. And I would imagine that after the 28-point performance last night, he now becomes a hot pickup. But what do you think? Because I got him on my team already. Last night I was smiling when he hit 28 points, because I'm like, all right. In fact, I'm going to start him next week over Kendrick Nunn. I'm going to bench Kendrick Nunn for him. And my point, or my question to you is he now a under-the-radar guy still, or is he now the obvious pickup of the week because maybe DeRozan does get dealt down the line?
Yeah, I will say I don't think he's under the radar anymore. Right. Obviously not after a 28-point game. He played 34 minutes. Like, he checked most of the boxes that you'd want to see. Shot, I'm looking at the box score now, it was 10 for 18. He was, if you're the sort of person who's checking in on like the daily news and notes around fantasy basketball, he led a lot of those stories. So once that happens, he's going to be a pretty high buzz player for a few days. It's a weird team. It's just a team in this era that's built around the talents of LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan is weird. I have no concept of what the market could possibly be for either one of those players, because I think they've both sort of established themselves as guys that you don't win a title by leaning on. It's really hard. Which contenders think that DeMar DeRozan makes them that much better? I don't even know. I don't even know how they get out of that situation. But I do think he's a guy who, and the minutes have just been all over the place. He's in the last week or so, he'll play double-digit minutes, and then he'll play a single minute, and then he'll play double-digit minutes again. So it's not the most perfectly clean pass, but definitely passes the eye test. And again, he's coming off a huge line. So I don't think he's under the radar anymore. I think he got in when you really needed to. But again, a pretty talented player.
And I picked him up 2 days ago. He was under the radar at that moment. Now he is no longer under the radar. Now, how do you view him? Is he a guy, do you think it's a flukish thing? Is it just, whatever? Or do you think this is a guy that actually may turn into something because, hey, the Spurs do need it, actually?
I think he may actually turn into something, and the Spurs have a wonderful track record of playing the guys who are who are actually going well. I don't think they're going to get too locked into the idea that he needs to stay on the end of the bench, or he's not this brand name player or whatever. Like if you're balling, Pop is going to play you. I think he's really good. I don't know that it's going to be 30 minutes a night. Because it's sort of a cluttered mess of a roster, in my view. But I do think he's pretty clearly settled in as somebody who should be seeing 20, 25 to 30 minutes, and that's certainly enough. He's got the talent, without question, to produce for fantasy owners on that sort of usage.
All right, and remember, if you want to follow Andy Behrens on Twitter, it's at Andy Behrens. Catch his work at Yahoo Fantasy. I suffered an injury yesterday. Well, the weird part is you set your lineup on Monday, and so yesterday was the first time that the Wizards were going to play, and I just found out that Thomas Bryant is now out for like 3 weeks with a apparent foot injury. And I'm stuck with him now for the rest of the week. I can't even change him because you have to have your lineup set on Monday. I hate it. But that's one of those, stickling things that have been part of our league forever. So now Davis Bertans had a good night last night, and he's already been showing flashes. And then Mo Wagner's injured, but he's about to come back. Which one of these guys? Is it Bertans? Is it Wagner? Is it both? How do you look at this situation without Thomas Bryant there?
Yeah, I love this question. I'm glad you asked it. This is a really interesting team for fantasy purposes. I think the first thing I want to address is your league format. Like, I in theory, I like the weekly transactions because I don't necessarily feel like a fantasy title should be won by the person who just has the most availability to get online and make transactions and stuff like that. Like, I don't mind weekly lineup setting because nobody's generally thrilled by the idea that you can just stream positions every day, every season, and you win titles that way. But whatever.
Okay, you know what? You convinced me, dude. I never thought of it that way. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because I feel like it balances things between the notion of, like, you got to really know the player pool. And it's not, like, you're obviously pretty good. If you picked up Walker a couple days ago, like, you're obviously pretty good at identifying talent early, right? Like, that skill still wins out. I just don't like the constant churning. The problem is when guys get hurt on Monday, and I've been burned by this a couple times already this year. I feel like De'Aaron Fox might have gotten injured in a Monday practice, and, like, I missed that whole week. Like, that stuff sucks. Anyway, to your question, Bertans just played a really great game. He had 40 minutes to play with because there was nobody else. Mo Wagner was out because of is it an ankle? I think it's an ankle.
I think so too. I think it's an ankle. Yes.
The key thing with him is that he's with Wagner is that he's day to day. And that guy's put up some numbers, and he's put up some really interesting rate stats so far this season. He actually leads the league right now in effective field goal percentage, which of course is just basically field goal percentage factoring in 3-pointers. He's shooting over 40% from three and well over 40% from three, shooting 60+% from the field overall. He's just been really good, and he's clearly going to come into a bunch of minutes. He's only day to day, I believe. So it's not like Wagner's out for 2 weeks or anything like that. And as soon as he comes back, I think he's probably going to be the more interesting of the two. Bertans might be, whatever you need, block shots, something like that. He might be a little bit better. He's clearly going to play. But I kind of feel like his big game was the function of a ton of minutes. And I feel like Wagner's going to be the guy who's really going to be interesting if he comes into a significant usage, significant shot totals. He's really only been playing 18-ish minutes per game. I'm looking at his season line right now. Yeah, it's 19.4 minutes per game. So if that guy's getting 30, he's super interesting to me.
Yeah, that's you're talking about Wagner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll tell you the whole team is really interesting. Because
but you're saying if Wagner gets the 30 minutes, not Bertans. You're saying if Wagner gets the 30 minutes, because I'm with you.
30 minutes a game. The way he's shooting and his ability to hit threes and just sort of his all-category usefulness, I think he's really interesting. That team is suddenly kind of a smorgasbord for fantasy owners because Isaiah Thomas is playing really well. There's been this little surge there. He just scored 20. And he's finally shooting above 40%, which he hasn't done for the last couple of years. So it would really be nice to see him make a run at like a comeback player situation, because what just a good backstory. He was such a legend for Boston that one year, and he's playing really, really well right now. So I think he's actually an interesting ad as well.
And let me add just a little caveat to the Wagner thing. If I'm correct, in most leagues, he is listed as a forward. And because Bryant will be out, they will play him at center. If he ends up starting enough while he's out, he will then get the center line. So, because I know in my league, he's only listed as a forward, but I'm hoping that if he gets enough center spots, then you can now move him from center to forward too. So he'll be, available in two positions. I think I'm correct.
Yeah, in Yahoo leagues right now, he's already a power forward and a center.
Wow.
Okay. And as people know, I could argue that we're generous to a fault with our positional designations, but that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, he's absolutely going to have to play center minutes, and I would expect other fantasy providers would flip him over as soon as he is.
Yeah, I think he's still only a power forward in CBS. I'm pretty sure. Yes, he is. I got it. I just pulled it up. So in CBS, he's still only a power forward. So just in case, if you play the CBS league, now you'll know that Mo is a guy you could pick up and stash and could end up being and in the end, it's what you talked about. Even when Bryant comes back, Mo still could end up getting the playing time next to him.
Yeah, he can. That's a really good point. Without question, he can play alongside him.
Right. So there you go. Mo Wagner, Davis Bertans. Two options for you. And Lonnie Walker, if you're sleeping under a rock, go get yourself a little Lonnie Walker. Let me ask you something. Kendrick Nunn, is he losing a little luster? Because I brought it up today. 3 of 16, 5 of 15, 6 of 16, 3 of 11. He's 17 of 58, 34% in his last 4 games. He's 5 of 28 from three-point range, shooting a paltry 17%. So is the youngster losing a little sizzle here right now?
Yeah, I find, and you're probably, obviously, I'm sure you're seeing every Heat game. So you're more plugged in than I am. I'm seeing highlights and I'm seeing the occasional game. That's like a spin the wheel team. They just always got somebody who's popping off, right? And it's some unexpected talent. It's really, really fun from afar. Probably kind of maddening so close. So yeah, like he loses a little luster, but I mean, you could say the same for Tyler Hero, who's obviously has some ups and downs as well. Like they were never going to shoot exactly as torrid as they were at the start of the season, but I also have no doubt that Kendrick Nunn is going to come back and have games like he did to open the season again. So I feel like he's just going to be kind of a roller coaster-ish hot and cold player.
Yeah. That's usually what it is with a young guy and trying to figure it out. And I think this is just a little bit of a funk. But I did add a twist to it today here on the show. I said, well, you know, that door just creaked a little bit open for Dion. Now, if you keep screwing up and you keep burying yourself, then that's when the coach has to say, well, wait a minute, I'm going to have to put Goran as a starter and start using Dion as the bench guy. You know, that you almost start, and I know Spoelstra doesn't want to even look at Dion after Dion ran his mouth and said anybody could coach the big three and all that. So he dissed Spoelstra. But I'm just saying, not right now because it's way too early, but if these struggles do continue, a week or two from now, people are going to start talking about that.
Yeah, wow. What an amazing off-the-court season Dion has had to this point. Like, it's just really hard to imagine him coming into a first full minutes. I guess it could certainly happen. And his Nunn is technically a rookie, right? Like, he's already played as well he played his way into sort of an all-rookie first-team discussion. I'd hate to see that end because it's just been such a really fun story.
Well, he's the rookie of the month. I mean, come on, you know.
Yeah.
So let's hope hey, listen, I'm hoping it continues. I have him on my fantasy team. All right, here's the other one that I wanted to ask you about. Kyle Kuzma. Has he become just a guy that you just cast off and put on the street? Because, hell, AD was even sick last night, and he's still balling, and Kuzma isn't getting the playing time unless AD is going to be injured. So is Kuzma down to being just a handcuff? Because he was a decent, fantasy player last year for anybody that had him. He was a starter. Now, dude, he doesn't even look like a bench player for you.
Yeah, it's tough with him because he is, and I think we've talked about it before. He's really the only trade asset they have, right? Like they can't flip, seems like any LeBron-led team that is in a finals discussion is obviously going to be a candidate to try to add pieces or a piece or whatever it is they need at or near the deadline. And they've dealt their way into a position where they can't really flip picks because all the picks are spoken for that they can possibly trade. And Kuzma is sort of that one asset that they could attach to another player, try to match some salaries a little bit and get something in return. So they got to, I would think they would have to build him up into a player that would actually be coveted by like a rebuilding team. And he's due to get paid pretty soon too. So you've got to regard him as somebody that you'd be willing to give a decent contract to. So I feel like he's got to get built up a little bit, but you're right. I mean, he basically entered this year as somebody who was primarily only going to be of assistance in terms of points anyway, right? Yeah. Not a guy who put up big steals. Like he just doesn't give you any what we call defensive goodies, right? Like it was less than half a block a game last year, and he was playing 33, 34 minutes a game and giving you only like half a steal a game, half a block a game. So he's not helpful there. Not unusually helpful in terms of percentages. He's like a 75% free throw shooter, 45-ish from the field. So he's not really helping you there. He's not a particularly good percentage 3-point shooter either, but he chucks them, for better or worse. So he was really only going to help in points, and now he's not particularly helpful there. So yeah, like you can't, fantasy-wise, you can't trade him. Nobody's particularly interested in acquiring Kyle Kuzma. And you're like, you don't want to play him either. So a guy that you don't want to throw into your starting roster and who has the trade value is definitely a plausible drop. Unless he's getting 30 plus minutes a game, I don't see how it can be extremely helpful.
And if you want to send in any fantasy questions, it's 786-322-1105, the accidentlawfirm.com text line. You can also send them in on Twitter at Big O Show or on our YouTube chat board there while you're watching. Bless you, Bill. D'Angelo Russell, the long-term view of it, how do we look at it as a fantasy player? Do we expect him to stay there in Golden State, or because of everything that's happened, will they deal him? And if they do, who's the guy you target to take over those minutes and maybe become a fantasy asset?
Yeah, this is super interesting too, because I really don't see how they can hold on to him. Like if they should be, and pretty much are right now, in tank mode, right, and positioning themselves for a draft pick that they didn't think they'd be in position to get. D'Angelo Russell could mess around and win you 4 or 5 games over the balance of the season. That's just not that's not helping. They don't need that. I doubt very much that they regard him as a serious part of the future as they head into the next 3-4 years with, the end of Steph Curry's prime and whatever they get left. Like these are the final years for like Clay and Steph and Dre, and they can make another run at it plausibly, but I don't know how you fit D'Angelo Russell into that. They're not learning anything about it this year because Curry's not around, Clay's not around. I consider it more likely than not that he will be dealt. That he would be dealt by the deadline, or certainly in the offseason. I don't know why they would push him back out onto the floor. He is expected to return, I think, on Wednesday against I think it's Charlotte on the schedule for them. But there's almost no question that without him, like Kai Bowman has been the guy that's benefited. He's got the shots, he's got the minutes. He's in all likelihood going to get crushed by Russell's return. They are starting to get a bunch of pieces back. Looney back, Russell coming back eventually. I suppose Steph comes back. Like they probably shouldn't put themselves in a position to win too many games.
Andy Behrens from Yahoo Fantasy. Follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens. Andy, are you on the Western Conference Player of the Week's bandwagon? Carmelo Anthony.
I think it's fun that Carmelo has played well. I think it's really fun. I did not think that a winning environment was necessarily the right place for him. Like, I just kind of wanted to see him go out guns blazing on a losing team, and it didn't matter that all he ever did on defense anymore was just sort of point at where other people should go. It's been fun. He's a beautiful player. At his peak, he was amazing. It's fun. I'm for it. Obviously, James Harden was the player of the week. That was a crock. That was an absolute crock. A guy averages 40+ in a given week, and he doesn't win player of the week. That's crazy.
He had 25, 19, and 23. Okay, good week, but really? Come on, dude. In this league, a nice week for – it's almost like they gave it to him because of who he is and all that good stuff in the pub. But last night he went 2 of 9. 9 points, baby. So he kind of.
And there's going to be plenty more of those lines ahead. That's a lot of what Carmelo Anthony is going to deliver. Like at this stage in his career, but still, it's a fun story. And they actually won some games. That was good.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a fun story. It's like watching the Harden Westbrook thing yesterday, and I was talking about it earlier. One dude goes 11 of 38, the other guy goes 7 of 30. It's 18 of 69, dude. 18 of 69. They shot 5 of 26 from 3-point range. It's just when they both got together, you've got to be crazy to think, oh, that's a great idea. The efficiency is just going to go through the roof with those two guys. Just nuts to have those two guys on one team.
Well, I feel like the Rockets are maybe going to force this. Like we need some rule changes regarding the three and how it's just no fun to watch this many missed shots. And I know it's the right shot to take. Like the math is overwhelming. Right. It is the right shot to take, and playing the game as they're playing it is, in fact, a winning approach. Like all the analytics will tell you that, but it's not pretty to watch. Like the reason I don't get super into college basketball is I'm not tuning in to watch somebody shoot 37% for an entire game, and I don't care where the shots are from. Like I don't want to see that many missed shots. It is a rough watch. And obviously Harden has the further complication that he will slow the game down by, he's great at drawing fouls. He's great at finishing through contact, and that is a valuable skill. It's not that fun to watch people shoot free throws, and it's not that fun to watch miss jumpers, no matter where they're taken from. It's just not aesthetically pleasing.
I got to tell you, that exchange between Harden and the fan, I didn't come here to see a free throw shooting contest, and then he screams back, I didn't come here to get fouled or whatever. It was just awesome, dude. That was hilarious yesterday. It
was pretty great. Like, he's a really colorful player. Again, it's just hard to watch a team shoot 37-38% for a full night.
I'm with you there. All right, give me an under-the-radar guy you like this week for streaming leagues, you name it. Give me something that maybe we didn't talk about you want to talk about.
Well, I want to shout out Isaiah Thomas again, who I actually just added in a couple leagues, coming off a 20-point performance. And again, he's shooting reasonably well. I think we've kind of written off Isaiah Thomas as a guy who could just crush your field goal percentage if if he was actually going to be in a position where he's going to get shots up. And now that's not so much the case. He's hitting shots. He looks a little friskier than he has necessarily last season, stuff like that. So he's a guy who's available in about 70% of Yahoo leagues. And I'm scooping him up. I'm plenty interested. And again, I feel like we mentioned him last week too. You can probably tell that I'm trying to replace guys like De'Aaron Fox and John Morant right now. But I'm pretty interested in Rajon Rondo too, who's been hitting the occasional three, and even with LeBron, just putting up huge assist totals, crazy stats, Rondo found a way to assist on 6-7 baskets tonight, so he's been useful as well.
Follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens and at Yahoo Fantasy. What are you guys doing there in basketball so they can check you out?
Dalton Del Don and I have the Yahoo Fantasy Hoops podcast. We're recording it tomorrow. Let's just put together some notes for that. We release that every Thursday. I really hope people will check it out. Go to Apple, go to Spotify, wherever. Give it a listen. I don't even require you to subscribe. Just give it a listen, try it out. We've had some really fun guests so far, and we have really good conversation on there.
As always, Andy, you're the best. We will talk to you on Friday for a little football, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Big O. Catch you soon.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. The great Andy Behrens. That was a fun fantasy basketball segment. There you go. Hope you guys liked it, man. Hope you guys are enjoying. Those of you at least that listen to fantasy basketball, hope you're enjoying. And if there's something you want us to add to the fantasy basketball segment that you think might make it better, send it in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line at 786-322-1105 on Twitter, on DM, Big O Show, whatever. If you got any ideas, not just for fantasy basketball, anything else for the show. And if you want to become a sponsor of our program, help us grow so we can keep this going for everybody, you can also reach out to us on my Twitter page at Big O Show. DM me if you want on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. My email, orlando@thebigoshow.com. You can send it there. Also, many ways to contact us here on the show. And, of course, you can also go to Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines, the best Acura dealership in the country, man. I'm telling you, I've been talking about them for 9 years now. And I did drive a TSX for 9 years until I totaled it. Anyway, right now we've got some great deals going on. The ILX is $199 and 2019 model. 2020, yes, they're in. The TLX is $259, the RDX $329, and the MDX $369. The selection is second to none. They've got the largest selection of brand new Acuras in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. So get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Only $29.99 do it signing plus tax tag and registration for those lease features. Check out the fleet of certified pre-owned vehicles and the used cars. All makes, all models to fit all kinds of budgets. Hey, tell them that Big O sent you, and they'll take care of you at Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million, whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Welcome back.
This is the Big O Show.
Hope you guys are doing well out there. Thank you for keeping it locked here on the program. We take you till about 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. Depends on how long the voice lasts.
It seems to be, sustaining.
Better than yesterday.
But there are a couple moments where you can.
I'm going to run out of gas, bro.
It gives out.
I'm going to run out of gas. What are you going to do?
You know what just I was thinking about, man?
What's that?
The Pit Gator Bites.
Oh, yeah. You want to do that after?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that.
All right.
Some Gator Bites. Nothing wrong with that. Little Gator Bite action. Anyway, we got a lot of things to talk about. We still got Michelle Kaufman is going to join us at the top of the hour. We'll get our Inter Miami segment with Michelle, and we'll get the latest on what's going on with Inter. No coach yet. We're still missing those 2 international players. We got to find out from Michelle what's the latest, man. What's going on with all of that? Man, you're keeping us in suspense here with all that stuff. Although they did claim or acquire, I think they're up to like 17 or 18 players, I read. So we'll get the latest from Michelle at the top of the hour, like we do every week here. We talk Inter Miami. We will talk every week Inter Miami until the season starts, and then when the season starts, we'll talk more Inter Miami. I'm interested to see when they start adding like more coverage, right? I'm not talking about electronically. I know what's going to happen. Electronically, the bandwagon will get on. The editors and the PDs and all that, they don't know anything about it, but they'll just, it started, okay, now let's cover it. You know, that kind of stuff. But it's interesting how it's just Michelle. That's it. No, she has no competition at all. And it's weird because I think it's going to be a beat that people are going to be interested in a lot more than the Marlins. And it's not because I'm not trying to diss the Marlins or say that they're terrible or they don't deserve the coverage. It's just they haven't done anything to get that coverage. It's their own fault. They can't blame anybody else but themselves. Meanwhile, the Inter Miami group does everything to get headlines. That's the whole difference right there. And they're willing to do what it takes to win. And that's the challenge for the Summers now. It's what I told Andre yesterday. I think they started to realize the landscape, and they're starting to realize that Inter Miami is going to steal anything and everything that's available in the summer. And parents are going to say, I'm going to take my son or daughter to the Inter game instead of the baseball game. Why? Because you're going to have a much better atmosphere. It's going to be a winning team. So the vibe is going to be fun. And kids like soccer. They actually do. I mean, hell, it's the number 1 played sport in this country when you're a child. They're playing more soccer than any other sport in this country. It's crazy, but it's the truth. And that's where Inter also takes a lead on the Marlins. You know what I'm trying to explain to you? It's because Inter now will have players and an identity that they're going to be able to grow up with. And you start entertaining, you start winning from the get-go, guess what happens, ladies and gentlemen? You capture memories. Okay? Because I have memories of Ray Hudson and the Strikers. I have memories of the Marlins back in 97 and 2003. I have memories of the Dolphins when they were good. And those are the things that ignite you and lift you and then also connect you with your team. Those kind of moments. Hitting the pots and pans when the Heat are winning championships. Hitting the pots and pans when the Canes are winning titles. And the parades. I remember covering parades. I remember covering the 91 parade for the Canes. Running up and down the street and getting interviews from the guys. That was as a media member. But as a fan, I remember going to the 87, the 89 parades, and 83, and I remember all of that. I remember going to Coral Gables to celebrate for the baseball team. All those kind of things. Because those are the moments that we connect. And the Marlins are creating none of those moments. And that's a huge problem for them. I hope they realize this. You cannot – it almost reminds me a little bit that Jeter and company, they act like the new Canes football players. Let me explain. Jeter and company come into town, and they kind of think that, well, hey, you know, we'll get attendance by just cleaning everything up and saying that we're going to do the things the right way. Sorry, nobody's showing up, dude. And your second year was worse than your first year, and attendance was still terrible. And you could change the start time and all that. That's all fluff. You got to add talent. You got to win. You got to entertain in this town. In comes the University of Miami football team. You notice these kids? They celebrate after beating Central Michigan. These kids here that they got now, they put on the U helmet, and they think they're Jerome Brown and Sean Taylor. Right? They think they're Dan Morgan. Problem is, they haven't achieved any of that stuff. They put on that helmet and they act like they are the U, and they're not. They're riding the efforts of everybody else that made the U. The guys the last 10, 15 years, they're not worthy of calling it the U and saying that they're a part of the U. Sure, there are certain players that were quality players that came through, but those teams, year in and year out, they're embarrassments to what was set up. But those kids act like they are the bomb. They act like they walk on the field and they'll win the game already. And that's kind of what Jeter did too. I'm Derek Jeter. I say we're going to do this, people will respond. No, they won't, dude. This isn't New York. This ain't the Bronx, bro. You didn't win 5 championships here, bro. Nobody cares about you here. There's a couple of ex-Yankee fans that care about you. Outside of that, hey, I'm not a Yankee fan, and I like you. As a player, I admire Derek Jeter, one of my favorite players of all time. Did it the right way. But the dude came in with this entitlement thinking that just by saying the right things, it was going to turn it around. And, bro, it's not. Nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to trust you. There's been way too much mistrust from Henry till now. Not just Loria, Henry too. Huizenga was a man and a half. Do you know why I say that? Because Huizenga bought the team. He went and bought the players and then told you, hey, by the way, I'm going to dismantle them at the end of the year. I'm losing money. This is not the business model I signed up for. At least he had the balls to sit there and tell you, this is how it is. Not I'm going to lie to you, I'm going to fluff, I'm going to sell, I'm going to tell you I'm going to do this, I'm going to tell you to do that, and you never do anything. And that's what we've gotten since. Henry was crying about a stadium, but he did get the money to buy Nesson and the stadium in Boston. But he didn't have the money here. Here he cried poor and he stadium. You get lied to. You got Loria lying to you about everything that went on. And then you got Jeter not lying because he's not a liar, but he is misdirected, in other words. And he's misinformed about this town. I don't think he understands that you got to earn your keep. The dude that gets it, got it more than anybody was Mickey Harrison. Mickey just didn't play the game. He just said, yeah, okay, no problem. I get it. I'll build my team. I'll build a kick-ass team year in and year out. You'll fill it. You'll respond. Now we're Heat fans. Now we're a basketball town. We'll always be a football town, but we are also now a basketball town. Because he didn't make excuses. Hell, even when he tore down the team, he lowered the prices. That's stand-up, dude. I get it. Owners are never going to be perfect because it's a business, so they're going to try to take advantage, and if they can get help from the public trough, they're going to do that too. Every one of them does that. The question is, what do you do after you've taken advantage of that avenue that's there? It's a law. Can't do anything about it. What do you do? How do you then contribute to the community? And then Jeffrey Loria didn't contribute crap. But Mickey Harrison has. Because he's given you a lot of entertainment. He gave you, you built the arena. You come, he built the team. He gave you a great coach. Great coaches, actually. Because he's giving you three, I would go with 2 great coaches and one hell of a coach. Spo's great for me, and I'll go with Van Gundy good. And obviously we know what Riley is. He's God. So, I mean, they know it. They get it. Inter gets it. Yeah, they're trying to cut any deal they can with the city and the county on any side, but they're building their own stuff, dude. They're not asking you to build it. And they're going to go get players, and they're trying to do everything first class because they want to create a product that you will come and you will support. Because Jorge Mas lives here. He knows how we are. We don't just support to support. Get the hell out of here, bro. I can go to South Beach and hang out in Lincoln Road Mall. Have some fun. Go to a movie, go to a concert, go to a restaurant, go to the Intercoastal, go down to the Keys. Too many things to do here. I don't need to spend my money and see your bad whatever professional team. And the Marlins, maybe there was a little bit of a wake-up call this week. But they got to get their asses on track, man. Because you don't want to become a ghost town in the summer. And that's what they've been. And they're going to become a bigger ghost. I mean, they're going to become such a ghost that Sam Darnold is going to be there, and he's going to have season tickets during the summer for the Marlins. That's the kind of ghosting they're going to be doing. Okay?
I don't think they're going to be ghosted. I think basically they're going to be exposed and put like, hey, look at what the Sox 20 and how many at the they didn't get 20,000 over 3 games.
Right. So
they're going to be called out and exposed.
Unless the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Cubs or
you know what?
Town.
You are man. Mets games, St. Louis games, you name it.
The quality teams.
Yeah, I could.
Or traditional.
Here, Marlins. Second night back in the day, A.J. Burnett, ex-Marlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they pass out cowbells. Of course, I go Marlins, but it's my one time to go Yankee. I got my Jeter, we're in the club section. The cowbells, man, no, couldn't get one because I'm a Yankee fan. They flash up the thing, 58,000, blah, whatever, and the Marlin fans are all going crazy. And I'm sitting there like, I stood up, I go, hey, Yankee fans, stand up. Why is there 58,000? Because of us.
Yes.
Not because of the Marlins, because of us.
No.
And you know as well as I do, man, I went to the second and third game, 50-50, maybe 60-40 Yankee.
Yeah, more.
60-40 Yankee.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. In those days, or any day, easy. It's always dominated by Yankee fans or any of the other teams that are quality.
Yeah.
They always
it
becomes a road game for the Marlins, dude. Automatically is what happens, but that's the difference. And the soccer team's gonna create a buzz, and they're gonna create a following, and it's gonna be a real interesting challenge. And you brought up a really good point, Bill. The embarrassment that they're also going to suffer media-wise, because they're going to have their attendance constantly written in. They're constantly going to talk about how the Inter Miami squad is doing it right and the buzz is there, and then it's dead with baseball. And it's up to them. They've got to get it done, and they don't. It's ridiculous, I tell you. All right, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Where the hell did I get 633? Anyway, so Heat in action tonight against Boston at 7:30. Panthers lost yesterday, and it started off so well. You're up 2-0 on the Wild. things are going well, and then the Wild get the next 3 goals. After that, they get the empty netter to make it 4-2. It's just depressing on that one, man. After you're leading 2-0, kind of dominating there at that point. Drieger, obviously, what do you have, 32 saves or something like that? I wrote it down. What do you have, 22 saves yesterday. He didn't really face a ton of shots overall.
No, and what do we have, 40?
Yeah.
We had 40, 42, 46, something like that.
Yeah, once you start trailing, it usually happens with the team that's trailing, the desperation. So they usually get a lot more shots, but they just could not get the damn puck in the net after that first period, dude.
No, and I be honest with you, I wasn't all that impressed with their skaters. We bodied up with them.
It's not a great team.
It just, I will say this, it seemed like every time we're going out of our zone, going neutral and going offensive, they had 2 guys back every time. We never had a real
odd man rushes.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean,
maybe a couple, but not like we usually do.
Right, maybe you didn't get the right turnovers. That's it. U2 announcing U2X Radio. What is that?
Oh, that one turnover in our zone that they scored a goal. That back pass right in front of the net and got picked off, and it was like, are you, it's in the net. Here we go.
Well, wait a minute. This is more important now. U2X Radio. What is this? It's U2's announcing. It's off the U2 Twitter handle, and it's U2X Radio. I don't know what that means. I want to know what this means. Somebody help me.
You know what? We got a couple minutes before Michelle, man.
I know that. But I want to know what U2X Radio means. Is that a U2 radio station? Are they starting their own station?
If I had to venture a
guess. Their own. That would be cool. Man, if bands would start their own stations. That would be actually really interesting. They could play their own music, their live stuff, interviews. They can give news out, that kind of stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Live stuff? Like the song that we've been looking for live, and we've only got the guy standing outside doing the sound check in Barcelona.
Anything. But I got to find out what that is. U2X Radio. If anybody knows, fill me in. Myron Sanchez says U2 Radio. Okay, but it was where is it? Is it on the YouTube website? Is there an app?
And I want the
Is it a
Drowning
radio
Man live.
station? Is it just music? What is it on demand? Is it? I don't know. I need to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, that's the name of the next album. We got to start planning that trip to Ireland.
I want to know what that is, bro. U2X Radio. I want to know what the hell that is. I'm gonna goggle it and see what the hell is it. U2 launching SiriusXM Pandora channel U2X Radio. Okay. 2 hours ago, this broke from Billboard. I have not seen it. U2 announced the launch of a dedicated SiriusXM channel dubbed U2X Radio on Wednesday, December 4th. The creative partnership with the satellite radio giant will include the channel and exclusive content available only to SiriusXM subscribers and Pandora listeners. The reveal of the channel was made by the band during their Joshua Tree tour stop at Saitama Super Arena in Tokyo, Japan, where singer Bono cut into the Howard Stern show to acknowledge the new deal. According to a press release, the news lit up the show's massive 200 by 40-foot screen with a video tribute to the radio just before a radio performance of Elevation, while a Facebook live stream led fans around the world hear the announcement as it happened. Generally, when I open my mouth, people prefer I'm singing, but on U2X Radio, maybe they'll forgive me the odd interruption, Bono said in a statement about the channel, which will launch in 2020. What I like is this looks like a permanent thing, because those of us that have Sirius, you know how they turn that one channel, what is it, channel 30, 33 or something like that? that for a month it's the Leonard Skinner channel, it's the U2 channel, it's whatever, right? And I hate it because they do, U2 for a month and then it's gone. Then Leonard Skinner for a month and it's gone. And I'm like, come on, man. So Guitarist Edge added, so I get to sit around having a laugh with my musician friends and playing our favorite music. As I always say, I have the best job in the world. The channel will feature appearances from the band, music from U2's 4+ decade career, never before heard interviews, and live recordings, favorites and surprises from the archives and band-curated playlists. U2 has unparalleled influences as musicians, social activists, and global cultural icons. The band's ability to evolve has enabled it to create a large and diverse library of hit songs, as well as 4+ decades worth of renowned live performances. Scott Greenstein, President-in-Chief and Content Officer for SiriusXM, in a statement. U2X Radio and the offering on Pandora will provide listeners new access and insight into the world, into one of the world's most accomplished bands, and we could not be more excited to welcome Bono, The Edge, Adam, and Larry to the SiriusXM family. U2's foray into satellite comes after a number of other iconic acts have taken over SiriusXM's airwaves with their own dedicated stations, including long-running ones from Elvis, Frank Sinatra, Fish, Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, Pearl Jam, The Beatles, and Garth Brooks. Good. Half those channels, the people are dead. All right. So, no, it's true. I mean, Elvis is dead. It's great to have his channel, but we don't get to hear from Elvis anymore. Hey, I want a, peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I just want a Drowning Man live version hooked up to the board, not some guy standing out in front of the stadium in Barcelona listening to a sound check, and we're getting reverberation and feedback.
Maybe it'll help. Maybe one day. Elvis, dead. Frank Sinatra, dead. Tom Petty, dead. Beatles, somewhat dead. It just, this one, at least these people are still alive, along with Pearl Jam and Garth Brooks and Bruce Springsteen and Fish. There you go. Fish fans. So the Fish has a 24-hour channel. I know they're big, but it's still pretty amazing that they have a 24-hour channel.
Well, those people are like Grateful Dead people.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's
they're fanatical.
Fanatical, exactly.
Well, it's a jam band. So it's one of those cool bands that you go and you don't see the same set ever. So it's just one of those deals. So that's why people love them, because they jam like, Matthews and Pearl Jam and things like that you go to those concerts and you never see the same concert.
Dave Matthews.
Yeah, so I said Matthews and Pearl Jam.
But you know what? I am so looking forward to Rockville because of Metallica.
Oh, okay.
Telling you
I didn't know
out.
I didn't know. I was going, wow, is Matthews there too? I didn't know that.
No.
Because that place will get fanatical.
Did you see Dave he was the 12th man. He raised the flag for Seattle on Monday night.
Yes. That's right. Juan Reese says, thank you for supporting the Strikers, Big O. Brother, I support all soccer locally. Strikers, Miami FC, you name it, bro. Inter Miami. It's always going to be like that.
Speaking of which,
yes,
we're a couple minutes past.
Oh, we are.
Miss Michelle Kaufman. Let's get our Inter Miami on.
All right, let's get our Inter Miami football segment on with Michelle Kaufman. That is next.
This is the Big O Show.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Welcome aboard. Every week at this time, we talk to the great Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. You can follow her on Twitter at Kauf Sports. You can catch her daily work there. As always, she covers Inter like nobody else because nobody else is covering Inter. That's true also, by the way. Michelle, when do you get competition? Like the week that they start? Is that when all the other outlets will stop being lazy?
I don't know. Hopefully nobody. Hopefully I'll just own it. Hopefully I will own this feed, and I will be the only place, the one, the go-to. Well, I will be the go-to anyway. I mean, I am competitive in that way. After 33 years in this business, I try to stay on top of things and do things the right way, and also provide reliable coverage, not just throw out there every rumor, because as you know, journalism, quote unquote, journalism now is not what it was when we started. So when we started, and which is what I teach my students at UM, I teach a sports journalism class, you're supposed to verify things before you spread them out to the world. You're supposed to make sure that what you're saying is true, or at least as close to truth as you can find. And nowadays it's just like, social media, people throw crap out there and see if it sticks, and if it doesn't stick, they're like, oh, I was wrong, it's not this, it's that, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, nobody has any credibility in my mind. Not nobody, but to me, there's a real difference between sports journalists who have credibility and sports journalists who don't. So my goal is always to be somebody that you can rely on, that if I post it, there's some truth to it. There's something, I have checked on it. I've talked to people inside, people who actually are in the know, not just, fulano and mengano, as my mom always says, fulanito y menganito. I don't just talk to fulanito and menganito. I try to be on top of things. So hopefully you're going to get excellent Inter Miami coverage from the Miami Herald, no matter who else jumps on board at the last minute.
Yep, no, I know we'll get excellent coverage from you. There's no doubt about that. Now, I'm wondering, Michelle, and this is a little bit off the beaten path, and then it isn't. The Marlins made a move a couple days ago to acquire 2 players to try and help their – and one of the guys actually is kind of intriguing that you actually could build on, and he's got some talent. I'm wondering if the green light finally went on with the Marlins and they've figured out that things are bad for them and they're about to get worse next summer when Inter takes over, because they're going to dominate the headlines. They're going to dominate the buzz. They're going to dominate because they're going to try to win, actually, and they're going to bring names, something that organization doesn't understand, or do they? Do you think maybe something went on back there that they realize that they've got to do something? Because if they don't, the team you're covering is going to absolutely run them over and own the Summers.
Yeah, I mean, I think they if they didn't think about that, they definitely should if it just happened by accident. But, definitely their competition, the Marlins have not had any competition in the summer here because, there's no college sports in the summer, and there's no football, and there's no basketball, and there's no hockey. So the Marlins have pretty much been able to own whoever's a sports fan, a real diehard sports fan in Miami that wants to follow something in the summer. The Marlins is all there is. But now there's going to be a choice. And, I can tell you just based on, I just posted a story today, the way Jorge Mas does things and David Beckham, they showed up yesterday unannounced at the construction site. There are 400 construction workers there busting their butts to try to get that thing done. And David Beckham and Jorge Mas pull up unannounced and surprise them all. And they hosted a lunch, a catered lunch for the 400 workers. And they spent 2.5 hours there with the workers, and David took pictures with probably all 400 of them, signed autographs, and gave a little speech about how important their work is and that none of this would be possible without their manual labor and their passion and their hard work. And, all those workers, I talked to like the guy in charge of the construction project. I quoted him in my story, John Lockerbie. And he said that, first of all, he got a tear in his eye. And he said, second of all, when those people all went back to work after David and Jorge left, he said they were super motivated. They were like fired up to go start up the jackhammers again. You know what I mean? Because they're doing everything the right way. I can't guarantee that they're going to win. I don't know. But so far what I've seen, they are doing everything the way, the way it should be done on a professional level if you're running a professional sports franchise. So I think they're going to raise the bar for the Marlins because they're going to be, they're very, very tech savvy. For example, all of their social media, if you follow Inter Miami on social media, the second a player is signed, there's already a really cool video posted and this and that. It's actually makes it difficult for me because I'm kind of competing with the team in some ways now, which didn't used to be the case, but that's another journalism conversation for later. But the teams now put out their own stuff and try to generate interest and buzz. They don't need the media to be the intermediary the way we used to be. So now the relationships have changed a little. But I think Inter Miami is doing a really good job of creating buzz, of getting the information out there. And they don't even have a coach or their well-known players yet. I mean, they are still going to sign a coach and 2 well-known players sometime in this month. And that's going to raise everything even to a higher plane. So I think the Marlins definitely need to be paying attention. And I think that Inter Miami, by its very existence and the way they're doing things, is going to raise the bar for the Marlins for sure. It's not they're stupid.
Yeah,
it's not they're stupid.
Exactly. No. I mean, you can't be that ignorant and not notice what's going on in this town and what's going to end up developing. And maybe 20, 30 years ago, the town wasn't nearly as ready to be a big supporter of football. But the landscape has changed. The demographics have changed. And I think that it's going to be an absolute monster this time around. And the Marlins better brace themselves because if they don't do their part, they are going to be very lonely in that stadium. Michelle, the team did add more players this week. Tell us a little bit more about that.
The team has 18 players now, believe it or not. I'm actually, I'm going to be doing something soon to introduce the readers. I've been doing, they sign this guy, they sign this guy, they sign this guy, but they have 18 players now. We're still waiting for the 2 big names, but they've got 18 guys on the roster. Obviously, some of these players are reserve players. The way it works in MLS is you can take up to 30 on your roster and then 18 for game days. So 18 is your game day roster, and then you've got 12 guys who are reserve players, And so some of these guys are reserve and some are not, but the big one that they really signed that could be a key player for sure is the goalkeeper, Luis Robles from the New York Red Bulls. He's an older guy, 35, very, very experienced. He has played 238 MLS games in 8 seasons, 72 shutouts. He was named the MLS Goalkeeper of the Year in 2015. So, it was 4 years ago, but still, he's a really good, talented goalkeeper. He's super excited about coming here. So he's a guy that, you definitely want to keep an eye on him. His father's Puerto Rican and his mother's Korean. So he fits right in with the blended cultures of South Florida. And he played in the Bundesliga before he came to the Red Bulls. So, he's a guy that has a lot of experience. Just today, actually, they signed another guy, John McCarthy, who's another, like a backup goalkeeper. So he came out of he had been playing in where was he playing? USL. He played MLS and he was playing USL with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. One season he played with them. Before that he was in MLS with Philadelphia Union. So, they're filling up their roster with all of the role players, let me put it that way. And then the two stars are still TBA. And according to Jorge Mas, they're working on it. They've got contract negotiations. They're working on the final stuff. I did hear yesterday another player's name that was being linked to the team is Ignacio Fernandez. They call him Nacho. He's a central midfielder for River Plate. So I don't know if that also means that, if Marcelo Gallardo is the coach and he brings his top midfielder here, that would be interesting. But he's a guy that I saw. He's 29 in the prime of his career. Nacho Fernandez, midfielder for River Plate, a possibility to come here. And we're just waiting. I mean, I am on holding pattern. I told you last week that by this Wednesday we'll have a coach to talk about, and we still don't. So from what I'm gathering from my conversations with people is that, they are in negotiations, but there are some little snags, hiccups of things that the coach wants, and it may not be in total agreement with what the team wanted to do, whether it be in timing of when the announcement is made or whether it be salaries of staff, things like that. So they're working things out. I think it's going to be imminent. I think it's soon in the next, days, because they keep telling me that by the end of December, there will be a coach and these two players will be in place and they're going to basically have much of their roster by then. If they get two more players, that brings them to 20. And then they've got the college draft and, they'll reach 30 pretty quickly. So things are happening behind the scenes. And it's exciting. And like I said, once they get these names in, I think the buzz is going to just go up. It's going to be up to another level.
Now, Michelle, and we're talking with Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald, our Inter Miami report here weekly here on the program. Michelle, when you look at the two scenarios, and you follow it more than I do, obviously, but I'm just getting a feeling that they got their coach and they are in negotiations, but they really don't have both players down in any kind of an agreement, that they're still trying to figure that out because maybe it's become a bigger hurdle than they expected. I don't.
Well,
do you believe that?
I think from speaking to people in the know, who are really in the know, like Jorge Mas and people at that level.
Not Fulanito? You didn't talk to Fulanito? Come on.
I didn't talk to Fulano or Mengano, neither one of them, but or his brother Mengano. But what happens is that they are playing with the big boys, quote unquote. Inter Miami is trying to go after players that some really big clubs in Europe are also going after. And so when that happens, as you know, in sports negotiations, if Inter Miami was the only team bidding for someone or it was just Inter Miami versus other MLS teams, that guy would already be here and already be living in his home and voting in the city of Miami elections. But, now that Miami is aiming high, this ownership group aims high, okay? And they are going after players that other teams in Europe are going after, which means the price tag goes up. And those agents use, they use it as leverage. They use it as leverage. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, he wants to go to Miami, but he's also getting a call from Juventus, or he's also getting a call from Atletico Madrid, or he's also getting a call from, Everton or Arsenal or whatever. And once those level of teams are involved, the money, the price tag goes up. I heard the other day that Cavani, that the LA Galaxy had some interest in Cavani or something, but he was asking for $11 million a year, and the top player last year, Zlatan, I think, made $7 million. So, the demands from the players that are getting offers in Europe are going to be very high, and the question is going to be, how high is Inter Miami willing to go, and will they be able to steal one or two of these players from these really, really wealthy, established teams in Europe?
Are they looking to pay a transfer fee, or are they looking to find guys that are straight up free agents?
Well, obviously, straight up free agents is better because they are investing $100 million on Fort Lauderdale. That's not even their. That's their temporary, their temporary home. And yes, their training facility, which is their permanent training facility, but they're investing $100 million just in that Fort Lauderdale facility. And then they're going to invest hundreds of millions more in Miami Freedom Park, assuming that goes through. So they are investing tons of money in all the infrastructure. So players' salaries, it's not that they want to go cheap, but if they have a chance to get a top quality player who's a free agent, that's going to be a lot cheaper than having to pay a really expensive transfer fee, which, in soccer, transfer fees are humongous for some of these top players. So it'll be interesting. By the way, I don't know if you saw this, but this is neither here nor there, but something interesting to keep under your cap is that Lionel Messi last week closed on a $5 million condo in Sunny Isles right here in Miami Beach. $5 million. So,
yeah, but
maybe
I
maybe
know,
he's planning not now, but in the future, maybe.
No, I get that. It's just everybody that has money buys a home here. That's the problem with all of that. If you're an actor or an actress, you're an entertainer, you're an athlete, everybody seems to buy some kind of a really nice home here in South Florida so they can live here part-time.
Yeah, that's true. No, and I think actually, to be honest, I think Messi already had a place here. From what I understand, he may have already had a condo, and I think he may have upgraded to a nicer condo. But I know that he visits here regularly, and a lot of the top players in Europe do, which is why they are also interested, to come play here. But they don't want guys who are just going to come to retire. They really do want guys who want to win and who are going to be excited to try to make this team the best team in MLS. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm super excited to find out who the heck are they finally going to sign and who's the coach going to be. And again, the names are the same: Marcelo, Gallardo and Patrick Vieira and, Santiago Solari. I mean, it's the same names I keep hearing. I'm not hearing anything new, but, I'm not in the bargaining. I'm not there. I'm not in the front office. So we won't really know for sure until we know for sure.
All right. As we get closer to training camp, do we know the practice sites so fans can find out about that because maybe they want to go see their favorite soccer team practice like I do?
Yep. Nope. They don't have the site yet either. It does not appear that it will be at the University of Miami. That seems pretty secure, but no, I don't know. In fact, I think what they're going to do is do some in South Florida, maybe FAU or something in Palm Beach County, and then maybe do something at IMG in Bradenton, and maybe something even beyond there for a few days. I think there's going to be multiple. I don't think they're just going to be in one place. I think they're going to. My guess is they're going to have part of training camp goes on for about 5 weeks.
Right.
I think part of that time will be in South Florida, and part of that time will be outside of South Florida for the team to bond.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and also for marketing purposes, if you want to go up to Palm Beach, that kind of makes sense. I mean, personally, for me, it'll suck because I got to drive from West Kendall to Palm Beach to go watch them practice. That's going to be one hell of a drive, but I mean, how about the jerseys?
We'll have to carpool. We can carpool together because I live in Coral Gables, so we'll carpool.
I like that. I like that. We can definitely do that. We'll pick up Bill, and we're on our way. What's the latest with the jerseys? When do they come out? Do you know?
The jerseys?
Yeah.
I had also heard that the jersey, the team would like the jersey to come out before Christmas, before Hanukkah. I mean, that would be how, that makes perfect sense. If you own Inter Miami, don't you want your jersey to be released in time for people to buy it for the holidays? I mean, I think that's, So I know that was their goal. Their goal is to get Adidas to release this, and the league. I think the league has to sign off on it and everything, but I would think it would make perfect sense to do it before Christmas and Hanukkah, which land at the same time this year, and so that people can get that as a holiday gift. It's a perfect holiday gift. Why would you do it in January when everybody's already spent all their money? You know?
No, and doesn't training camp start in January?
Yeah. Training camp is going to start in mid-January.
You want to have those Christmas presents so people are now inspired for training camp and the start of the new year with your new soccer team. All that would be awesome, man. That would be the only that would be the only present I would want my wife to get me is just get me a kit. Just get me a jersey and I'm good. That's it.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know why. Is it you or me?
Oh,
wait.
You never know. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me okay?
You're good? Yeah, I got you. You're good.
Okay.
You're good?
No, you were cutting in and out just at the very end there.
No, I was just saying that I would that would be the present I would want for Christmas. I would tell my wife, look, just get me an Inter kit and I'm good. That's it. I'm done.
Right. No, I have a list of people too. I mean, my brother, my nephew, I have a list of probably 5 people that would be interested in a jersey. So, if they come out with it, I think they would make a killing before the holidays.
Oh, yeah. They definitely would. I mean, hell, Caneswear, one of our sponsors, they ordered 2,000 jerseys.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, because they know. They know what's coming. They know what's coming. They want to be in Broward. They want to be the main home for Inter goods. And so that's why they're going to have a spot in their store, even though it's called Caneswear, they're going to have a spot in their store that's dedicated to Inter Miami. How about that? Smart.
No, that makes perfect sense. And plus, the team is going to be based in Fort Lauderdale. Let's face it, it's called Inter Miami, but for the next 2 years, that team is going to be practicing and playing in Fort Lauderdale. So the Fort Lauderdale sporting goods stores and, everybody up there, that's going to be their team for the next 2 years,
Yeah, no, that's right. Sports Authority should take advantage. Oh, I'm sorry, they're not around anymore. Anyway, Michelle, are you sure that they will end up in Miami eventually?
Yes, the plan is still to move to Miami eventually. The plan is not to stay at that site. No,
I know that's the plan.
Here and they're trying to.
I know that's the plan, but what's your gut tell you? What's your gut tell you? Is what I'm saying.
My gut is telling me that it's going to be in Miami. 2022. The next 2 years will be in Fort Lauderdale. After that, the USL team will stay there. The training camp will stay there. The youth academy will still be there at the Fort Lauderdale facility, which is beautiful. And they'll host international clubs and stuff like that. But I still absolutely believe that they're going to be on that site. And if you talk about competing with the Marlins, you're going to practically be able to see one stadium from the other. If they end up at Miami Freedom Park, that stadium is going to be almost in, you'd be able to almost throw a baseball. David Beckham could probably kick a free kick from one stadium to the other. So that's going to be interesting.
Well,
they're going to be basically across the 836 from each other.
Except that the fence in front of the goal on the stadium side for Inter will be much stronger. There's really nobody on the other side to stand there for the fence for protecting the goal because nobody goes. See, that's the thing also. Traffic will be all around 37th Avenue. There'll be no traffic on Northwest 12th Street, unfortunately.
Right. Well, we'll see. I mean, I do think it'll step up. I think the Marlins will have to step up. There will be a summer, there will be 2 big sports teams going on in the summer, and that should be exciting for the city.
I hope so, man. I hope that ends up happening that way. I hope the Marlins wake up and step up and give us a great team to root for, just like Inter's going to do, and make summers really, really interesting down here. That'll be awesome. Michelle, what else are you working on the Herald so Inter fans can stay tuned?
What am I working on? Well, right now I'm actually working on my wish book story. We do the wish book every year around the holidays, and we get nominations of people in the community who could really use help. So that's actually the story I'm writing today. It's due tomorrow morning. So I'm going to have a story on a really wonderful woman who's taking on, 5 kids on her own and doing a great job, but she could really use some help. So I went out and spoke to her, and I'm working on that story today. It's not sports. But every year at this time of year, I always pitch in for the wish book story. So that's what I'm working on right now.
You're a class act. That is awesome. I wanted to ask you one more thing that now I'm forgetting.
Were you going to ask me about the UM basketball team?
Yeah. No, well, kind of.
Dropping a 27-point lead,
yes,
but still managing to survive and beat Illinois on the road.
That was great. That was great. But I was going to ask you is, University of Miami's Lonnie Walker last night. I watched him, 28 points,
God.
19 points in the fourth quarter against the Rockets, who play no defense, but it's still awesome. That was fantastic, and I think his time is coming because I think they're going to try to move DeRozan, and it could be the Lonnie Walker show in San Antonio. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, he was unbelievable last night. He was on fire, and we saw when he was even at UM in the brief time that we got to see him, he definitely had potential. We knew when he got here he was going to be a one and done, but that's never a guarantee. We thought Juwan Hernandez was going to be one and done, and he's had a lot of travails. So, Lonnie is really looking to be as good as advertised. The way he played last night was crazy. I mean, 19 points in the fourth quarter, and he's got all the swag and all the personality and all the confidence in the world. That guy is not lacking in confidence. So yeah, I think his time is coming. I definitely think his time is coming, and any success. And then I don't know if you saw the other day that Shane Larkin broke a Eurobasket League record.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he had 50 plus. I don't know, 54 points or something. He's playing in Turkey. So Shane Larkin broke the scoring record in the European League. And he's probably, I'm assuming, going to be headed back to the NBA at some point. But, every former Miami player who does anything in the NBA is really good for the Miami basketball program because Jim Larinaga, one of the things he likes to do is to expand these players' games when they get here from high school and prepare them for the NBA. And he's such a good teacher. And his son coaches in the NBA. And, he really knows what it takes to make the NBA and how to, hide your weaknesses and how to show off your strengths and capitalize on your strengths. And he's very, very good at that. And every player from former Hurricane, who makes it in the NBA is, that's an endorsement for the basketball program. So I know that Chris Caputo and Jim Larinaga were sitting there last night cheering for Lonnie because, not only cheering for him because they like him, but also it's a great statement for the program. That one of the players who chose to come here is good enough to go to the NBA, and then they can use that in recruiting. They can say, "Hey, Lonnie Walker, you see this highlight video? Guess where you played college? Guess what jersey he was wearing? He wasn't wearing Duke or Carolina. He was wearing the U." So. It's really good. If Lonnie's career were to take off, that would be very good for UM.
Yeah, that was cool last night to watch him do that. And, of course, you can follow her on Twitter at Koff Sports. Hey, before I let you go, you talked about Caputo. Is he kind of the coach in line when Larinaga leaves? Is he the guy because he gets so much credit for helping develop players in that program? Is he the guy they're kind of targeting? Is that the plan down the line?
Well, I mean, he's definitely, he's highly, highly regarded, and he gets called for jobs, on a regular basis around the country. He's chosen to stick with Coach L. I think for sure. I mean, he's very, very well respected within the department, within, the boosters, the media. I mean, when Coach L can't go to a press conference on the rare occasion, Chris Caputo's the guy who comes in and he's the spokesman. And yeah, he's a great recruiter. He's a really good tactician. He works his tail off, and he's been with Coach L for decades now. I mean, he is learning from one of the best teachers, for decades. So, the day that Coach L decides to not do it anymore, I would think that Chris Caputo would be a natural fit to fill in because he has the same philosophy. He's learned under the master himself, and he's very highly regarded.
It's an amazing combination, those two guys right there, the way they've been able to do it. It's kind of like Smith and Leonard up in Florida State.
I was just going to say, it's exactly like, Stan has had so many offers to go places, and he's always, now I don't know, I think Chris would like to be a head coach.
Right,
I think Stan really likes to be, Stan actually prefers, I think, to be in the background and to let Leonard be out in front. But those two are a partnership, my God. I mean, they've been together forever.
Yes.
And everywhere you see Leonard Hamilton, there's Stan Jones right next to him. So
always.
Jones,
I said
similar
Smith. That's right.
Yeah, Chris Caputo. Yeah, Jones Smith. Similar. But yeah, Chris Caputo and Coach L have have been attached at the hip for quite a while now, and he would be a perfect replacement. But Coach Hill isn't going anywhere anytime soon. He's still got a lot of passion.
Thank the Lord that he's going to stick around because he is just a blessing for that program. And it's always a blessing to have you every week here on the show. Follow her on Twitter at Koff Sports. Catch her work at the doorstep. We're, of course, online, Herald.com. Michelle, as always, you are the bomb. Thank you for taking some time.
Sure, I'm going to throw in one quick thing.
Yes.
The UM women, we never get to talk about them.
I know.
But the UM women are in the top 25 and have been all season. They're number 21, and they played tonight against number 14, Indiana. And they've got, Beatrice Montpremier, who's a candidate for Player of the Year. I just wrote a feature today on their other 6'3" center, a freshman, Sydney Roby, R-O-B-Y. I asked her if she's related to Reggie Roby, and she didn't think so, but I told her to check her family tree because that's not a very common name. But anyway, she's a really interesting freshman whose mom played professional basketball in the WABA in the 80s. So anyway, the UM women's team is doing very well this year and worth, getting some attention. And they play at 6 o'clock today. It's always a fun time. The players are super accessible. It's a great family event, for kids and everything. So if you're looking for something to do at 6, the UM women are worth watching.
Michelle, as always, great stuff, great info. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good.
You
Thanks.
got it. The great Michelle
Bye.
Kaufman. Thank you, Michelle. Awesome stuff, as always, here on the program. Damn. Got a lot of stuff done today, man. Loaded show. Still left some stuff that I wanted to talk about, actually. We'll get to it tomorrow. We'll have another show tomorrow. The voice didn't run out as much today. Today it kind of hung in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it cracked a little because still have a cold, but, it is what it is. But we're all right.
No, you made it through.
Made it all right. All right, we wrap it up. We thank Gary Washburn, Andy Behrens, Michelle Kaufman, of course. Bill, as always, kicking some serious ass and taking names. We thank John So, producer also on this program. Many people it takes to put it all together, but we can't do it without you, of course, downloading, watching, listening, all of that. Our amazing sponsors, please support our sponsors. That's how we keep it all going. So we appreciate that. And, of course, our great sponsors for believing in us in this whole thing. And it is growing every single day, and we love you for it. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Be good out there.
Later.